And we are live. Welcome, YouTube, to Geekery Abides, as Peter just got really annoyed right before we went on air. I love the spirit of that.
I didn't get annoyed.
There was some perturbed element to your disposition when finding out something that was not on our soundboard.
Oh, that's true.
I don't know how the hell we've been doing this for over a year now, and there's still holes in our soundboards.
Yeah.
That's very strange. But yeah, we're here for the episode 32. Let's go ahead and hit the intro and get started. I always hate doing too much before because I feel like we have to repeat it because when I do the podcast side, I literally cut it. So the first thing they hear is the intro, and then into what we do after.
So they wouldn't hear this.
Excellent.
No, indeed not. Or
just hook it to my veins.
You got to find your pedal.
Mr. Gumble.
Your pedal. That's
yeah.
so funny.
I do. I've got pedals, man. Let's go ahead. Oh, you know what? We're right. Okay, let's go ahead and hit the intro and get started.
He who is ashamed of his geekery has forgotten the face of Stan Lee.
You the proud, the geeky.
This is the podcast, Geekery Abides.
All right, hello everyone, and welcome to Geekery Abides, episode 32. I am Tad, and with me, as always, is my co-pilot Peter. What do you?
I got to make sure that my saying's in there.
We're here for episode 32, where the main topic will be video games. Is this their first full? I mean, we did a Red Dead episode where we Dreamcasted, but outside of that, I don't know that
we talked about this. I don't know when. I don't remember when we had the conversation, but we're like, how have we not talked about video games yet?
Not. I mean, they certainly come up plenty throughout,
but as a topic
to have a dedicated
on
topic
on the episode.
Yeah,
you know?
that's how is that not happening? That is pretty surprising. Although I will say, pushing 40s, Tad and Peter don't play anywhere near the video game level that we did when we were 18 to 23. Like that. At that time, it probably would have been a video game podcast, for God's sake.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as we were playing. But,
And how Xbox was superior to PlayStation.
Hey, I still have arguments on that, man. There's still some things about the PS5 that annoy me. I see people like, I hate that I have to, put double A's on my Xbox controller. I'm like, I love it because when I'm playing a game on Xbox and the thing bleeps up, cool. You know how quick it is to swap it out, throw new batteries in, and keep going.
Reloading.
Whereas my fucking PlayStation one that dies way too fucking fast, by the way, because there's so many things they use the controller, so the battery dies quick, and then I have to plug in with the fucking 3-foot cable they gave me, or either stop playing and let it charge for an hour or so, whatever it is,
or sit forward,
and I'm just like
back in the old school Nintendo days where you had a wired controller.
At least put like a 9-foot cable on the goddamn thing.
People aren't
for
sitting
God's
that
sake.
close to their TVs. TVs are huge now.
Exactly. I mean, they weren't sitting that close way back in the day. But either way, that aside, yes, I'm enjoying my PS5. I enjoy some games on it, but there's some issues where I'm like, and also I've had more crashes on my PS5 in the couple years I've had it than I've had on Xboxes in 20 years.
I'm just gonna say it, PC Master Race. So
there's a lot of issues on PC too.
I love gaming on my PC.
Gaming availability is a huge thing.
I can't play Spider-Man 2. You're not wrong.
Exactly. So let's go. Oh, let me go ahead and change my notes over to the right show here. That might help. Yes. So now we are over to the right sheet, and let's go ahead and dive on into the intro stuff. First of all, we've already introduced ourselves, but if you want to email the show, you can do that by emailing either of us directly. It is either Peter at geekeryabides.com or Tad, Tadd, at geekeryabides.com. That is the way we decided to do emails where you could do it directly. We produce the shows, picking the topics, alternating back and forth. I do the odds because I am an odd duck. Peter does the evens. And
Because I'm a square?
picking the well, I mean, you do always like all those fucking square ass characters, all those good guys.
Says the guy who's a fan of Superman.
Eh,
I mean,
okay, but of all the pantheon of things I'm a fan of,
you're the fan of the biggest square of them all.
who was I? I was watching something recently, and it was something from more old school. Like, how was it? Turtles? There was something I saw either. Oh no, because Turtles. There was something I was looking at, and it was talking about whatever, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember like getting into that when I was younger, and I like realized like, oh yeah, like the bad guy in that too.
Yeah.
It's just all of them, man. They're the best. Heroes have all, or villains have all the fun, sir. That's
My wife makes a point in the chat. There's always the exception that proves the rule.
yeah, that's maybe what Superman is. And the other thing too is any like iteration version of Superman, whether it's an alternate universe of himself or a ripoff like what's his name from The Boys. Those I hate. I hate every one of them.
Oh, really?
They're just the
so
worst.
like Injustice, where Superman goes
Hate
crazy
it.
and wants to kill everyone.
Yeah. What's his name? Homelander.
Yeah.
Hate it. The other one that everyone always talks about that's just evil Superman. Like, I don't know. I hate them all. They're not interesting to me. I think that's the thing with Superman is it has nothing, like, to me, the ultimate superpower of Superman is not his powers. It's his goodness.
Ah.
Like, because any one of us given his powers would not be as good as he is.
No.
We would all have that time where someone cuts us off. We use our fucking laser vision to take their fucking brake line out and then see him careen into a thing and die. All of us would do that.
You would, not all of us. Don't speak for all of us when you're talking
Hey,
about murder.
you've talked plenty of times to me about if you had the Force in traffic.
I always talk about that I would break their axle. That puts them to a stop. That doesn't put them in harm's way.
Sure. But yeah, no. So ultimately, that's to me the big appeal to Superman is that it's that Kansas city, that Kansas farm boy, good,
Yeah.
just straight laced, good like that. That's what's interesting about him. So when I see like things like Homelander and stuff, it's just like I don't get it, man. Or Injustice, which I actually didn't realize until not too long ago. Do you know Injustice was originally the game, and then the comic books only
Yeah.
came after?
Yeah.
It's just one of those things you assume the comics that everything's been done, and then they just adapt to comic shit into like games
Yep.
or whatever. No, apparently that was completely
Yeah.
created for video games.
Original idea
Interesting.
for that comic book writers for 60 years? Because it was like the 90s when the Injustice was starting to be developed. Because it came out in the early 2000s, right?
Maybe.
I think.
No, I think it was later than that.
Was it really?
Yeah, I think it was in the 2010s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But so we're looking at, 70, 80 years of Superman history, and no one thought to make him evil?
yeah.
I mean,
pretty
come
much. Yeah. All right. So next up, what have you been watching, reading, playing? And I am realizing I left mine blank, so I'm going to have to go
From memory?
from memory here.
Uh-oh. That's never good. I'll give you a second. I'll go first.
Yeah, go ahead.
So reading's the shortest one of these. I've been still reading End of Watch, the third of the Bill Hodges trilogy by Stephen King. Not been listening much. So.
Yeah.
Watching is my biggest one. Still watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine with my wife. A bunch of true crime documentaries. I'm caught up on X-Men 97. And then I watched The Departed. Got to say it that way, of course. It's
a good
legally
one.
required to say it that way.
It's a good one.
And then I did watch the Fallout series, and I know I threw kind of a hissy fit about that
Did
last
you?
time.
I knew you wouldn't hold through on
no,
that. I was like,
I talked to one of our friends.
I was like, you're too much of. I don't even know. We haven't talked until today. We haven't
Yeah.
talked that heavily about video games. But I know you played the Fallouts and loved them. So I'm just like,
Yeah.
there's no way he is not going to watch this. There's no way.
I really wasn't going to, but I ended up talking to one of our mutual friends, Brian, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm caught up on the series because it was still coming out at the time. No, it had dropped all, but they hadn't watched all the episodes yet.
Yeah.
Him and his wife, and he was saying like, "Oh, they're not as bad as like the rest of Amazon Prime with ads. They do one at the beginning." And then that sponsor makes it so that there's no ads for the rest of the show. I'm like, okay, I can stomach that. That's like watching YouTube. Watch
Yeah.
one ad, and then I get my 47 to an hour episode
Yeah.
before I have to watch another ad.
I'm seeing people saying this is up in the realm of some of the best video game adaptations of all time. So
I'm okay. We have to talk about this because I'm annoyed by that conversation that's happening. People are saying Fallout, it's the first real good video game adaptation of all time.
that ship has sailed a long time ago.
I'm getting
but
sick and tired of people saying that every time a good video game adaptation comes out because I'm
Yeah.
sorry, The Last of Us exists.
Yeah.
Like, shut the fuck up if you think The Last of Us is bad.
No, and I don't think anyone really truly thinks that. I think it's just one of those things people love the hyperbole.
That's what I'm saying is I've heard people say that, and I've even seen like posts online about it because I went and watched videos of like there are so many Easter eggs in the Fallout series. No spoilers. There are just so many Easter eggs that the people who made the Fallout series are fans. Tad, you want people like this to make the Dark Tower series, which is hopefully what we get with Flanagan.
Yeah, indeed.
They are such fans of the show that they knew how to put in Easter eggs that fans would adore because I was sat there. My wife has never played a single second of Fallout. And I sat
you're
there.
doing the Leo
dude, my shoulder started to hurt from how often I was doing it. Like I got to be careful doing that as a white guy. So, but
watch your angles.
Yeah, watch my angles. But seriously, constant Easter eggs throughout the entire. And they didn't just drop like 5 at the very beginning and then told their own story. They told a story that ties in with the games.
Yeah.
Like it's unreal how much it's connected to the video games that have come out already. And so I went and watched because I've never played Fallout 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Which is the only game you've played is Fallout.
First one.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't even play that much of it. I got bored of it.
Yeah.
RPGs aren't my thing, man.
No. They're not. So
I'm glad you watched it because I was going to actually bring that up. Is that I've been hearing people saying it's among the best video game adaptations of all time.
It is. If you put a gun to my head and said, "Okay, pick one, Last of Us or Fallout," I would probably let you shoot me instead of giving an answer.
Make that decision.
That is a tough one. Both of those are just such good series, and they're both just starting. So I don't know which. I mean, we have one season from each.
Yeah, that's true, and more coming. So, let's see.
And then the only other thing on for me is playing. I've been playing. I finished Fallout 4, and of course, right as I finished Fallout 4, they drop a massive update for it, bringing it into next gen, PS4, PS5, and Xbox X.
Series X.
Yeah. Graphic wise, and also dropped an entirely free, basically DLC for it. So, uninstalled it, started playing the Batman Arkham games, got through Asylum, got through City, found out about this update for Fallout, and re-downloaded it yesterday, and now I'm playing Fallout 4 again. So, Arkham Knight is going to have to wait.
So for me, let me see. I don't have my list, but I'm still reading Swan Song by Robert McCannon, the nuclear book. I've been enjoying that. Playing, I went and played through the last couple percent of Spider-Man that I still had left before the second one dropped. I was hoping to get through, I think it's my 700%, and I ended up falling just short. So I was able to jump on in like 40 minutes and just finish the final fight and then go and mop up a couple small side things. There's a couple of the postscript things. And I went through and played Miles Morales for the first replay ever. And then I'm 65% through Spider-Man 2 for the second 100%ing ever of that. So been doing that video game wise, still playing MLB The Show quite a bit. And then watching, honestly, show wise, still haven't been watching a lot. Although today I did throw the X-Men back on. I've been not watching because I was bummed that I didn't get through the whole binge before the new show started. So I decided to dust myself off and start watching today. I watched a couple episodes. So watching that, and then movie-wise, I went and saw Immaculate with Hayden, one about a nun and pregnancy and whatnot.
Oh, right. I forgot about The Omen.
Yeah, indeed. And then there is also, I also decided to throw Ocean's 11 on. I haven't probably seen that since they came out.
Which one?
The first one. Ocean's 11.
Which one? There's 2 different versions of Ocean's 11. There's the remake and the original.
No, the original doesn't exist, dude. You can't find it anywhere. I mean, hell, even the Ocean's 11 hasn't been. I've actually been trying to watch that one for a couple months, and it was never on streaming. And then finally, it popped up not too long ago. So I was like, oh fuck, finally I'll watch the goddamn thing. I haven't seen it since it came out. What was that? 2001. So it's been a long time.
Yeah.
And then the first Omen, I've now seen that twice.
Oh, you went and saw it again?
Went with you guys and Hayden, which was an absolute and utter joy. Wonderful horror movie.
Fantastic.
Had to go see it again. It wasn't as good without Hayden there.
Of course.
But it was still fun. And then I went and saw Civil...
Hayden just makes horror movies amazing.
And that was up there too for him. That was
Yeah.
like an all-time.
He walked out.
He walked out for a bit. Afterwards, he was saying he thinks he may have actually passed out at one point. So
Jeez.
yeah, that one got him quite a bit. I also went and saw Civil War in theaters as well, the new movie that came out. So, but that's the watch for me. And yeah, that is it for me.
There we go.
All right, let's jump on over to the news. All right, the first news: Ewan McGregor did an interview, and he
fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi.
and Lydia posted one too.
Oh
I
yeah,
just
she's
noticed
reading nothing, watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Fallout.
That's such a great
and,
show.
Her favorite streamer, Jeremy Dooley. Also, she went and saw The First Omen with us. And then playing Little Nightmares 2, Spyro, and Fall Guys.
Yeah, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I've actually been kind of thinking about that. We got too many other things right now that are on my horizon that I got to wait on.
I got a bitching about Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Netflix got Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but it's also on Peacock.
Yeah.
Right? Netflix only got the first 4 seasons, so if you're going to watch it on Peacock.
Oh,
Otherwise, you're going to have to switch.
I would have, yeah.
It's just
yeah.
so dumb
I
that they
actually
only
think
got
I may,
the first 4 seasons.
I'm trying to remember if I did it. Yeah, I'm actually gonna cancel Netflix just because there's like I feel like they're like once a year or so. There's just a burst of things I want to watch, but otherwise it's like, why am I subscribing to them? Like I'm not turning it on for months
It's
at a
through
time. So.
I got it through my cell phone.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah.
it's a little bit different for me because I get like a discount through T-Mobile with that.
Yeah.
My wife, I have to ask you a question. Do you think Tad would like Little Nightmares with how he likes the horror stuff? It's kind of I don't want to say it's a kid game, but you play like a kid trying to escape monsters. So
Sounds fun.
it's not like Alien Isolation or the Mortician's Assistant, like true horror games. But I've heard my wife, yeah, it's a side scroller. So you just,
okay.
you
Yeah.
hide and stuff like that from things.
Things that go bump
I
in
mean,
the
it's
night.
called Little Nightmares, for God's sake.
Yeah.
So, you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been keep seeing like Captain Holt clips here and there, and I'm
yeah.
just like, I need to watch this show. God damn it.
Good night, sweet prince.
That's true. I forgot. That's unfortunate.
Andre
Yeah.
is amazing. Was amazing.
But going back to the news, Ewan McGregor reveals that there were darker plans for the Kenobi series.
Oh, Lord.
And he says, quote, the first episode used to start with me as a waiter in a bar, which imagine a bartender is Obi-Wan Kenobi. And he says, quote, like he's really lost his way, Obi-Wan. He's working in a bar. He's drinking too much. I get beaten up. People are kicking me, and I just am just sitting there taking it and then stalking out, into the night. So he would have been a bartender that was drinking on the job, getting beat up and letting himself get beat up and wandering off into
Alcoholic
the night.
Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Yeah, that's something else.
Wait a minute. I've seen this before. It's called Dr. Sleep.
Yeah, and then he says, that was our first idea anyway. That was a draft where there was a draft where that's how it started. He says we were talking about a movie at one point, not a TV series. Disney Plus wasn't there yet, which actually proves how
Right.
long they've been talking about Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan, yeah.
And I said all I can see is him broken after some time after episode 3, and he's in a really dark place. So
Yeah.
kind of an interesting little thing to learn from him. And then in there as well, your wife also said, The First Omen. That was a good movie. Oh, indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Fingers.
Fingers.
All right, next up,
Long, gangly fingers.
Yes, indeed. Next up, we've got a visual one.
Okay.
We've got our first, a new photo, not first look, of the Jedi Wookiee in Acolyte. I am not a big fan of the name, Kelnaka. It just feels like, why are you taking the last bit of Chewie's name and just throwing something else on the front of it? That feels very cheap to me. I don't know the backstory, but I'm not a big fan of the name. But either way, he is played by Jonas Samato, Samtamo. I don't know how you say his name.
Yeah.
Which he's the one that obviously
Chewbacca.
replaced Peter Mayhew as Chewbacca. And Jonas says, quote, ever since I was 5 years old, I've been fantasizing about being a Jedi like every kid. Well, not every kid. Some of us thought about being Sith Lords.
Yeah.
When the word Jedi was first mentioned in the talks for the Acolyte, I've felt really excited, like a little kid who finally got to play with his favorite toy on his birthday. And he says, quote, Peter told me right from the get-go that Chewbacca is a mime character. The audiences don't understand what he's saying exactly, but they interpret his mannerisms and every little twitch and every little movement and roar. And then he says, Kalnaka is a Jedi. That sets certain expectations to how you carry yourself in the line of duty. There are certain assumptions that can be made as to whether he let his emotions take control of him to the extent that Chewbacca would, for example. It'd be it was very interesting to bake into the character and try to personify that on screen.
Ooh.
So, interview as well as we've seen him on the trailer, but now we're seeing a full-on picture of him.
That's cool.
So I know you're probably excited for Wookiee Jedi. Another one. I mean, we saw him in animation in Clone
Yeah.
Wars, but seeing one live action,
It's cool looking speeder too.
yeah, indeed. There was some pictures I saw where they cropped it way down, and it was just the Wookiee, and you barely saw it. But I'm like, that's a cool picture overall, man. I'm sharing
Yeah.
the whole goddamn thing. So yeah, that
Looks like a paparazzi got it. Like there's an actual like he's a real Wookiee. and
stumbled
it's
upon the Wookiee in his camp.
Yeah.
It's Bigfoot. Get him.
Surprised there's not people like protecting him from Bigfoot hunters.
like
Peter had
yeah.
with Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi had to have, was he surrounded by people in orange because they were afraid somebody'd shoot at him.
Yeah.
Next up, we got Blumhouse is rebooting the Blair Witch Project.
Okay.
So they're working with Roy Lee, which we've actually talked about Roy not too long ago on the Dark Tower show. He's involved in a number of Stephen King things, but honestly, he's just a fucking stone cold legend. He's been involved in so many horror things over the years. So signing him up is not bad, but I kind of wonder, like, what is the point here? 1999, you have one of the best horror movies ever made. They had a really shitty sequel a few years later. They did a reboot, or I don't know if it was a reboot or whatever, one that was just Blair Witch Project.
Yeah.
Or Blair Witch is what it's called.
Yeah.
I actually never even saw that one. I heard it was way better than the second movie, but it just feels like they're just keep trying with this when it's like, is this just the ultimate horror where it's completely impervious to sequels? I don't know.
think this would be nice. Is this falls in line with my thought process, which you've turned me on to with The Shining, is that I would like to see it retold every generation, because I think the technology has come where the Blair Witch Project would be fascinating with modern technology.
Yeah, like
Can you imagine
like
this shot
GoPros.
on GoPros? What about? There's all the shit about shooting on iPhones.
Yeah.
What about if you just have someone out there with an iPhone recording
iPhone,
their friend? Drones would be fascinating to see drones, to see what because the Blair Witch Project kept it so bare that you heard things, and then the actors built up the tension with finding the dangling stuff and everything like that.
Yeah.
Imagine what we could do with modern technology with stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm scared. What's out there? I don't know. Send the drone, and then the drone gets knocked down by something.
Yeah.
You know.
You want to see anything though?
No, you don't. You won't see anything. Hopefully.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think you should be able to see anything.
I
Now-
think like if they go back and they do like frame by frame, like maybe you see a hand come out.
or like just the barest like shadows.
Yeah.
In the darkness.
Yeah.
I don't even think I would go so far as to have any glowing eyes. I think that's going too far. But yeah, that's great. And then your wife also says, I'm currently trying to escape a teacher that has her neck stretched out.
That's from Little Nightmares. Yeah.
Bent neck lady?
Basically. It's some messed up imagery in that game. I've watched her play a little bit, and it's just
I love the spirit of it.
yeah.
All right, next up, we've got some Scream news, or rumor, actually.
Fitting for your shirt.
The rumor is Scream 7 is going to involve Ghostface targeting Sydney and her family,
Again.
who have up to this point been spared. She has never had her family involved.
Oh.
Her family is always
Her dad was involved in the first one.
no. Her husband and kids.
Oh, that. Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, they've kept them off. Well, we knew her husband from the third movie. Patrick Dempsey played the detective.
Yeah.
Then they end up saying they got married and shit. So we've seen him technically, but they weren't even a thing. Now they've got a couple kids. You know, she's moved
Yeah.
away, and it sounds like Ghostface is going to be.
After them. Oh, Mama Nev.
Yeah.
Mama Sydney is going to be a Mama Bear.
Yeah, and it says then my notes here. Since Spyglass totally fucked things up with Samantha and Tara Carpenter, they will not be returning. The Insider said, "quote They are looking to cast Sidney Prescott's two kids. Seems like the movie will focus on Sidney's family, as all four, her husband, and two kids are listed as leads.
Ooh.
So that should be interesting.
I wonder what age they're going to have the kids be.
Yeah, it's. I would.
We could have adults at this point.
I mean,
couldn't we?
I would assume they might be high school age. Perfect.
That'd be the perfect. Is
Perfect
high
Scream.
schoolers. Yeah, I mean, you look at some of the classic horror films.
That's where it is.
Halloween,
Yep.
Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, the three big ones. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, high schoolers.
Yeah, Chucky's grade school, but
Right.
That's I don't know. Whenever you got a killer doll, you should have little tiny.
Well,
children.
prom night, you know.
Yeah.
Like the classic horror slasher thing is
Yeah.
you do high school.
Yeah. Indeed.
I mean, hell, Scream is high school
Yeah.
kids.
It is. It is indeed.
So.
Next up, Blumhouse has announced that Five Nights at Freddy is getting a sequel.
Oh, okay. I
And
still haven't seen that.
It is coming fall 2025.
That's fast.
Yeah, it is coming up pretty quick. I do think that might be a fun one to get a group together and have a watch party. Five
be
Nights
down.
at Freddy's.
I thought we were talking about doing zombies.
I mean, yeah, but Five Nights at Freddy's is one that we missed in theaters. That's
Oh, you haven't seen it either?
uh-uh.
Oh, there we go.
No, so that might be a possibility.
Where's Hayden when we need him? I need him
I
to
don't know.
come in.
There are some other viewers that haven't spoken up in the chat. I kind of wonder if old Hato Potato is listening or not. But
Maybe.
I don't know. He hasn't popped in and said
I'm just
no
waiting.
or
I'm
anything.
just waiting for a no to pop up. You know, that's what.
Well, and we also talked about the first Omen earlier, so
Hmm.
I don't know. I feel like if Hayden were here, we may have sussed him out, but
Yeah, probably.
not yet. Next up, Mike Flanagan talks the first Omen. So he tweeted, and he says on Twitter, he says, "I absolutely love the first Omen. Gripping, vicious, and downright scary. Nail Tiger Free is exceptional, but Arkasha Stevenson's direction knocked me out cold. Expect great things from her," which is kind of the first thing I said, where I was like, wait, she's like, when I looked it up and realized that she had never directed a full feature film before,
Yeah.
and I'm like, wait, what? Like
That was
a
her first go?
movie that good as your first go? That's not
his or
fair.
her? Her first go. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, and then he also has a Letterboxd account where he has a review on there, and I pulled a quote from there too. He says, Arkasha Stevenson roars onto the scene with an absolutely knockout feature debut that is wicked, vicious, elegant, beautiful, beautifully directed, and downright scary. And then he says, as the credits began to roll, I found myself actively hoping for another installment, which can't say I didn't think the exact same thing.
I forgot to tell you. I meant to text you and tell you about the creep factor that my wife suffered on the way home.
Yeah?
Yeah. So there's the scene. Minor spoiler for the first Omen.
You guys saw a
There's-
bunch of nuns crossing the street on their way home?
No. It's actually one of my wife's fears is arachnophobia.
Oh, yeah.
So there's the scene where you see the spider like up close and everything. I was wondering if you caught it. Did you notice that it was on her eyelid?
Yeah.
My wife didn't know that. She didn't catch that, and then she didn't see the little spider darting off her cheek
Yeah.
and everything. And so when I told her that, I was like, yeah, that spider, that was on her eyelid. That's what the shot was. It's like those big things in the background were her eyelashes.
Yeah.
And she's like, what? I'm like, yeah, the next scene where it pulls back and you see like the little tiny spider run off her cheek. She's like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah. And she's like, huh. She like freaked out a little bit in the car ride home.
Oh,
It's the movie that keeps on giving.
Indeed. I had a spider join me in the car not too long ago.
Oh, did you?
Waltzed driving.
That's never good.
It's always a fun thing.
Yeah. The only thing worse than spiders is a bee.
Yeah, that's true. It's-
Spiders is just like, okay, I got to keep an eye on you. You're over there. You're
but you
fine.
gotta watch the road
Yeah.
too.
But just keep an eye. You just got to glance back at him, talk to him, keep him company and everything like that. But a bee, that's where you pull over as soon as possible and get that fucker out of your car.
Yeah, indeed. Next up, Scary Movie is developing a new movie.
Oh, it's been a while
Miramax.
for those, haven't we?
It has been a long time, yes. So, I don't know. I'm mixed. I mean, I love the first 2 or 3 with the Wayans brothers.
Yeah.
Once they left, I feel like the whole series jumped the sharks. So if they were to bring them back, I would be maybe interested. But I don't know. I mean, ultimately, a lot's happened since then. So there's a lot for them to spoof.
Yeah.
So if they get a very smart and intelligent writer that's not just going to go low-hanging fruit, it could actually be really, really good.
The real problem I had with Scary Movie past 2 is when they started doing movies that weren't scary movies.
Yeah.
They did 8 Mile was a huge part of one of them.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what are we doing here? Like,
Yeah.
that's another type of spoof movie. That's not another teen movie or,
Yeah.
something like that. Go do that. Don't do that in a scary movie sense.
Yeah, indeed.
Trying to see how many movies they made.
I think there's 4 or 5 would be my guess. Next up, Superman has added a Ma and Pa Kent. So Pruitt Taylor Vince is Jonathan Kent, and Nev Howell is Martha Kent. So they're rounding out the cast as they are obviously filming that movie right now. Both of those are character actors. None of them really jumped out at me. They've got varying degrees career-wise. But yeah, if you wanted to look them up. But yeah, that's that's what's coming up there. It'll be interesting though, because I know we're into a little bit further into his career, so I think
Yeah.
Ma and Pa Kent are going to be going back to visit, not necessarily like we're not seeing his backstory. So it'll
Hopefully.
be no. James Gunn has said there won't be any
Good.
backstory.
Origin stories.
Yeah, no origin story on it. So
This will be the 6th scary movie.
yeah, that's what I figured. 4 or 5 is what they had made. I thought.
Yep.
Next up, we've got DiCaprio was apparently almost Lex Luthor in Batman versus Superman.
Oh, really? That would have been better.
So they were interviewing Zack Snyder, and he says, Leonardo DiCaprio, I talked to him about it. I think DiCaprio, he had a lot of great ideas, just in the meeting. I think in the end it was like, I don't know, but he was really smart about the material and really smart about the character. Then he went on and said, I think he, DiCaprio, was the one who mentioned to me the idea about Superman fighting the Justice League at some point. I was like, okay, that's good. Then I'm going to put that over there. So it sounds like not only was he auditioning, but the Justice League versus Superman stuff may have actually come from
It's because
DiCaprio.
of DiCaprio. Wow.
So that's kind of interesting for sure. Next up, we've got Kit Harington has said that the Jon Snow spinoff show is dead. At least for now. It's the way he makes it sound. He says, quote, I hadn't really ever spoken about it because it was in development. I didn't really want to when it leaked out there that it was being developed. I didn't want the thing to happen where people kind of start theorizing and getting either excited about it or hating the idea of it when it may never happen, because in development you never you look at every angle and you see whether it's worth it. He says, and currently it's not. Currently it's off the table because we all couldn't find the right story to tell that we were excited about. So we decided to lay down the tools for now, for the time being. There may be a time in the future where we return to it, but at the moment, no, it's firmly on the shelf, which I think is good because that one never sounded good to me. I mean, outside of Kit Harington is awesome. Like, I was like, the last thing that I thought of as we left that show was like, I can't wait to see more from Jon Snow in the wild barrens of the North.
Yeah.
That's not even interesting to me at all.
No.
So, I'm not super disappointed by.
Let's have Game of Thrones without the throne.
Yeah. Indeed. Next one, and this one is huge.
Okay.
There is a live action, rated R, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin in development.
I did hear about this one. It did sadden me, though, when I read the article, because I'm a huge Turtles fan from when I was a kid. It effectively killed the video game that we were supposed to get.
Oh, I would prefer a movie over a video game, personally.
I would have loved a video game of The Last Ronin, especially after what my wife did to me the other night. It was someone saying, like, if you could have a video game made, it'll never be made, but what's the one that you would suggest? And someone said, have a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with the Arkham combat style and Arkham feel from the Arkham games, but with the Ninja Turtles. And I can't get it out of my head now. Fast travel is the sewer system.
Yeah.
Michelangelo skateboards. Donatello has like a glider. Raphael's got
the
a
van.
You got a van if you're playing co-op.
Yeah.
Michelangelo has a motorcycle, kind of thing, and just like you have to go around New York City stopping the Foot and other bad guys and Rocksteady and Bebop and everything. Dude, it would be so fucking amazing.
Yeah, I think even in the
I am excited for the last Ronin.
even
though.
in the style of the Spider-Man games, kind of the
yeah.
same thing, right? Just like that vast, big world superhero thing.
I mean, just copy and paste the New York from Spider-Man, and there you go. Give me Ninja Turtles, though.
Yeah.
Like, how awesome would that be?
Yeah, indeed. See, the cool thing is all the stuff you have to deal with in the air for Spider-Man. You just remove all that because it could just be like
Bring it
painted,
down.
bring it under the ground.
Yeah, bring it down and have like a sewer.
Sewers. Yeah,
Yeah.
indeed. So the Tyler Burton Smith is writing, and he did the 2019 Child's Play script, which I still say is a great movie. I think it's largely being like lost, but not only did Mark Hamill do a great job as Chucky, but they did a completely different thing. They didn't just redo the original.
Yeah, you were telling
Child's
me
Play,
this
so-
last episode, it's not a serial killer Chucky, right?
Yeah, he's like AI, and like ultimately, it's like he's not like the serial killer that projects his body into this fucking doll. It's like he's an AI thing, and like it all kind of almost plays off where it's like all kind of a misunderstanding, which is interesting, right? Or
Yeah,
it's just
for
like-
Chucky, yeah.
Yeah, so it's
Because he's always been a cold-blooded killer.
yes, indeed. So now, have you seen the clip of the original Child's Play in Spanish?
No.
When the mom's like, I'm going to throw you in the fire if you don't say something. And he starts yelling at her and like comes alive and starts yelling at her.
No.
It is so funny in Spanish. Next
right, I'll have to
time
look it
next
up.
time I see it, I'll
Okay.
send it to you. So The Last Ronin is set in a totalitarian future in New York City.
Yep.
The story is told of how the Turtles and Master Splinter are killed off one by one by the grandson of the villainous Shredder and synthetic ninjas. One turtle manages to survive barely and vows to exact bloody revenge. So this is kind of a big deal, man, because Turtles are largely been a kid property. So for them to okay a R-rated live action movie, like that's, let's not overlook how fucking like, oh my God, that is. Like that's insane.
The comic books has some adult stuff in it, right?
Yeah,
I've
like-
never read the comic books, but
Yeah.
the kids shows and everything like that have always been kid friendly.
Yeah, exactly.
Even
So-
like Michael Bay stuff was PG-13.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
pretty surprising, and I am pretty excited. I'll have that on my list of one of the more things I'm more excited for in the near future.
Oh yeah, it'll be one that I definitely see in theaters.
Yeah. Next up, Keanu Reeves is apparently rumored to be voicing Shadows in Sonic 3.
Oh, nice.
So, whatever he goes against in this next movie, Shadows is probably going to be some kung fu thing, probably, right?
I know kung fu.
Whoa,
I know kung fu.
next up, we've got they're releasing on Disney Plus the restored version of the Let It Be documentary for the
okay.
Beatles. So the one that they came out with Peter Jackson a few years ago was basically in the midst of recording the original Let It Be documentary. There was tens. I think it was 50-something hours worth of footage that Peter Jackson found all the best stuff that wasn't used in the documentary, remastered in 4K, and that's what was on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
So now Peter Jackson has gone back and remastered the actual documentary that came out in the late 70s. So now it'll kind of complete the entire picture. And this has been unavailable. I think the last time it was available was like 81.
Oh wow.
On like VHS. So this has been out of the reach of a lot of people for a long time. So pretty exciting for Beatles fans.
Nice.
Next up, we've got Scorsese, DiCaprio, and Jennifer Lawrence are teaming up for a Frank Sinatra biopic.
Oh, that ought to be good.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Leo is obviously playing Frank. Jennifer, and I keep wanting to fucking call her Jessica for some reason.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know why. I'm like trying to get it in my head. It's Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah.
And it never sounds right, but I'm always like, Jessica Lawrence? Like, what? No, what the fuck's her
Jessica
name?
Jones?
I don't know what it is, but
Yeah.
I know it's a J name, but it just is not, it won't settle in my brain.
Maybe she just looks like a Jessica to you.
I don't know. She's awesome though.
Yeah, she is.
She's going to be playing his second wife, Ava Gardner, and then currently Scorsese does not have the rights from the family, but he is confident that he will be getting them soon, and it sounds like he wants this to be one of his next projects. He certainly knows Spring Chicken, so
No.
Still, I mean, in this age where musical biopics are they're all kind of the same. Doing one on Sinatra by fucking Scorsese with Leo starring,
Here
like
we go.
that sounds like sign me the fuck up right
Yeah.
now, please. Or
Just hook it to my veins!
There you go. Just Barney it.
yes. Next up, we've got AMC executives saying that we are all sickos.
Well, yeah, I mean, but why?
So AMC about the Dune popcorn bucket.
Oh, come on.
/ sex toy.
Dude, come on. You can't call us sickos for that. Look at
It
it.
says, quote, we continue to learn and evolve. We would never have imagined the Dune thing. We would have never created it knowing it would be celebrated or mocked the way that it was. She says some fans are collectors. Then there's another group of people who are specific film fans that buy 3 different Ghostbusters products. It's all a mix. It's all material parts of our food and beverage business, but it's not the majority of it. It also makes the movies more fun. But yes, she said that they never would have done it if they would have known the mockery that it would have had. How the fuck do you
on.
not know that was going to get the mockery?
That's on them.
Come
That's
on.
not on us.
That isn't one of those things where the internet kind of like said it and you're like, oh yeah.
yeah,
No, that was,
I get it now. No,
it was, you saw that.
saw that and I instantly knew this is not going to go well.
that should not be shown to children.
No.
How can this be for the greater good? Shut it!
And then in a related news, Deadpool is going to be creating a quote unquote intentionally crude popcorn bucket.
My wife read this to me the other day, and she's so excited for it. There's supposedly a leak of
There's not.
There's not an official one
No,
yet?
there's a bunch of
Okay,
people.
that's what we were wondering.
There's a bunch of people that have mocked things up and and are whatever. But right now there is no at all word of what it is actually going to be.
Oh, wait. You have the headline wrong. Marvel's not creating it.
Yeah.
No. Deadpool is creating it.
Kevin Feige's the one that said it. He's like, oh yeah, we got something in mind for Deadpool, and it's
And
gonna
what
be...
he said, the direct quote, is that Deadpool is designing the popcorn bucket. So puts a little twist on it that it's Deadpool breaking the fourth wall in like a whole new way.
So there's a lot of assumptions and fake mock-ups, but right now we don't know what it's going to be.
Okay, see that there we go. That answers. That
Otherwise,
question.
I would have a picture of said,
Gotcha.
whatever it might be. But
We can't show that to children.
hey, with all of our vulgarity, I have this show marked not for children.
Oh, that's
so
true.
We're all right. Next up, we've got Daredevil Born Again wraps production, and it says, quote, on its first half.
I was going to say already, but that makes sense.
Well, no. So reportedly, the contracts do not let them call it seasons 1, 2, etc. So likely they're going to be called part 1 and part 2, and it's going to basically be season 1 and season 2. So season 1 is wrapped.
They're not allowed to call us seasons?
I don't know.
What the hell?
I don't even know. Who knows? Yeah, sometimes I know that shit gets shady where it turns into a thing where it's like a lot of the guilds and unions have rules into like payment, and like payments pay off at a certain level of seasons. So then they do things like they'll cancel a show right before that hits like that line, or they'll like stop calling them like whatever. There's a lot of fugazi bullshit they do, but yeah, I don't know. Either way, Daredevil Born Again is well on its way. Can't wait for that.
Some of it has been filmed.
Yes. And then next up, Robert Downey Jr. says he would happily play Iron Man again.
Oh, thank God.
During a recent interview with Esquire, the actor was asked if he'd be willing to play Iron Man again, and he replied very quickly, happily. He says, quote, it's too integral a part of my DNA. That role chose me, and I always say never, ever bet against Kevin Feige. It's a losing bet. He is the house, and he will always win. He says, quote, we're going to keep that moment and not touch that moment. Or let's see. Is this from him too? I feel like this may have been someone else. Either way, it says we are going to keep this, not keep that moment, not touch that moment again. We all worked very hard for many years to get to that. We would never want to magically undo it in any way. I have that written like that might be him as well, but I feel like that may have been someone else. Okay. Either way, though, things have been proven that you can in multiverses. You're not really undoing moments by seeing them pop up elsewhere. I also still am wondering in Secret Wars if we're going to see Tom Cruise playing Iron Man.
That'd be so funny.
Because he was originally going to be cast. So, multiverses.
Yeah. My wife says in the chat, he is Iron Man just like Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool.
Yeah, and I mean, let's not be like daft here either. He was a B-rate celebrity at best. He was probably a C-rate celebrity, more likely, when he got that role. And
he was on his way out of Hollywood.
Yeah, like he was like, what was he, like some supporting actor in Gothica? You know, like he was,
and he had trouble with the law too. So it's
there was a lot.
Some people wouldn't even touch him
to the point now where he's an A-list actor that just won a fucking Oscar. That doesn't happen without Iron Man.
No.
And he fully knows that. So.
I'm glad that he embraces that because there's a lot of people who don't embrace that nerd culture afterwards.
Agreed.
And that's
there's even some MCU actors that have kind of said they're kind of happy to be done and don't really want to come back.
And I get kind of upset at that. It's like, hey, know where you came from. Like Jamie Lee Curtis knowing her roots.
Oh, yeah.
With horror films.
Yeah.
Like, I appreciate that about her.
She's the best, though.
Yeah.
She is a queen.
Absolutely.
Next up, we got Joseph Quinn talking about the Fantastic Four and Johnny Storm.
Is he the director?
No, he's Johnny Storm.
Oh, gotcha.
He was Eddie in Stranger Things.
Oh, right. Okay.
Also, I think, did we cover last time, I think, that he auditioned for Spider-Man?
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
I thought we covered that last time.
Maybe we did.
I don't have it in this note.
I don't remember that. Let's put it that way.
So Joseph, he was at the Fax Comic Con in Belgium, and he was asked about the Fantastic Four. He says, quote, I'm really excited. I still can't believe it. It's really crazy. We have a great group. It is actually, I just buried it in this. It wasn't part of this article. It's here.
Oh, okay.
That he basically said, also in a former interview, that he actually was in the later auditions for a Spider-Man that Tom Holland eventually got.
Wow.
So I will say, let's be glad he didn't get that, because he wouldn't have got Eddie if Spider-Man was a thing.
That's true.
And that was he's maybe one of my favorite characters in
he's great.
in Stranger Things.
Yeah.
And he says, we have a great group. When I spoke to Matt, the director, he had a brilliant vision for this. And the group we have, it was a really easy decision. I definitely want to be part of it. And then when he was asked how he was preparing for the part, he joked, I'll be setting myself on fire for real every day. And then my tangent about Spider-Man. So, can't wait for that. And every little bit we get, can't wait to hear more about the first family of Marvel. Next up, the Thunderbolts title change, I guess.
Again?
No, that one hasn't really changed.
Oh, it hasn't it?
No, but Feige's and literally you're seeing the title change.
The asterisk?
Yes. That is the title change. Feige says yes, you'll notice the asterisks on Thunderbolts. That's the official title of Thunderbolts. We won't talk anymore about it till after the movie comes out. I have no fucking clue, dude. It's Feige. I don't know.
All right.
Whatever. All right.
Oh yeah, I love your confusion matches.
All right. Moving on.
Next up, rumor. The rumor is currently that Sam Raimi and Jon Favreau are both being considered for Spider-Man 4.
Oh boy.
I call absolute bullshit on Favreau. There's no fucking chance in hell that he has any time to go and cross streams back into Marvel with his duties in Star Wars. He is now directing one of the next Star Wars movies. He's involved with the Mandalorian stuff. He's producing the Filoni movie. There's no fucking way.
No.
Like, there's no way. Kind of like when Feige said he's going to do a Star Wars movie. I remember saying immediately to you guys, there's no fucking chance that ever happens.
No.
There's no way. And guess what?
He
What was it,
didn't.
like within the last 6 months they announced like, yeah, that's not happening anymore. But Sam Raimi, that is a interesting possibility. Sam Raimi, imagine the circular element of that eventually he ends up directing a Spider-Man 4, even though it's not the Spider-Man.
It's not his Spider-Man 4. Or is it? And they're just trying to trick us. They're like, yeah, he's going to do the next Spider-Man. It's Spider-Man 4. It's like, oh, Tom Holland's 4th movie. Yay. And then when we get to the theaters and it's Tobey Maguire.
Dude, if they actually went and did all the marketing and made a bunch of fake trailers.
Tom
and
Holland
shit,
goes on to all the shows. Toby gets the time off and everything.
dude.
But then it opens up and Tom Holland is like, huh, weird. And then it flashes over to Toby. That's all Tom Holland's in it.
That would be glorious. Next up, Michael Douglas wanted Hank Pym killed off. He said in an interview recently, says, getting killed off actually was my request for the third Ant-Man movie. He goes on and says, I said I'd like to have a serious death with all these great special effects. There's got to be some fantastic way where I can shrink to an ant size and explode or whatever it is. I wanted to use all of those effects, but that was on the last one. Now I don't think I'm showing up for the fourth one, which I don't even know if there is going to be a fourth one. So sounds like Michael might be. I mean, he's an older guy too.
Yeah.
He might want to just go, and he mostly did it for like his grandkids or whatever.
Yeah.
So would have been interesting though. Imagine if he had died in that movie.
Yeah. I gotta admit, I need to rewatch that one. I don't remember that one very well.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Next up, and we're getting close to the end of the news here, Spielberg's next film is likely a UFO-related film.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind Part 2.
E.T. Two of the more iconic extraterrestrial alien movies have been Steven Spielberg. So I will say...
Just hook it to my vein!
I
Let's
mean,
do it.
Yeah, Steven Spielberg, sci-fi / aliens. Dude,
All right.
sign me the fuck up.
Yep.
A recent report is from Variety saying that the filmmaker will, quote, likely make his next project on a UFO film based on his own original idea. The script is also being written by Jurassic Park writer David Cope, which we're talking the original Jurassic Park writer. So
OG.
that is exciting. Also, maybe unrelated, but I decided to pull this in from another interview from a little while back.
Okay.
In a previous interview, he was talking about age and retirement, and he said, quote, I feel a little alarmed to be told I've lived a lifetime because I'm not finished. I want to keep working. I want to keep learning and discovering and scaring the shit out of myself and sometimes scaring the shit out of you. I got to get back to some of those early scary movies, but that's a story for later on. So I don't know if the two might connect, because I can imagine if Spielberg wanted to get scary.
Here's our message to Steven Spielberg about that.
Do it. Yes. Yeah, imagine, because I mean, he's done Jaws, one of the most, that's terrifying. That still terrifies people about open water.
My daughter won't watch it.
Really?
I thought it would be like the perfect horror movie to introduce her to horror and everything like that. She won't watch it. After I told her the premise, I'm like, yeah, it's a giant shark eating people. And she's like, no. And I'm like, oh, come on. And she's like, no.
Should have told her it was about a bottlenose dolphin that just loves a certain little boy.
Flipper?
You know, there's that little boy in Jaws too that gets eaten. Remember his mom and dad are I am hoping that the two might be connected, because I do think that UFOs can inherently be a little bit scary. So we'll see.
Ooh, what if it's an abduction film? Have we ever had that? Like, I mean, there's been joke abductions, and
Yeah.
there's been I was abducted.
Yeah.
But what about an actual abduction film?
I don't feel like that's Spielberg though.
No, that's like Saw level. Like,
Yeah,
like,
exactly. That's
you
like
want someone like Wu is his name that did the first Saw.
James Wan.
Wan.
Yeah.
James Wan. Yeah, you want James Wan to do that where it's like a torture.
Well,
they're dissecting you
if it-
alive kind of thing.
If it were him, the aliens would be like very small puppet-like aliens.
and do that
Because you got the Saw
Laughter,
puppet.
yeah.
He also did Dead Silence. So
ventriloquist puppet.
he's all about those little tiny doll-like
There we go.
creatures. So I
mean, little Martians, isn't that what they always say? Little green men.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Next up, we've got Tarantino scrapping the movie, the movie Critic, which was supposed to be his 10th and final film.
Oh.
He's apparently crumpled it up and thrown it in the garbage and said, "I am going to figure out something else for my 10th movie."
Interesting.
So, yeah, nobody knows what that means. So,
All
there is that, and then. The Office, we've been talking about. There's a possibility of a new Office show, not necessarily a spinoff, but something else in the Office universe. Apparently, it exists, and it has cast its first two.
It's got a teaser
actors.
trailer.
It's got Domhnall Gleeson from Star Wars and other things. I think I'm trying to remember what else he was in. Wasn't he in was The Revenant? He was in one of those
Hang on.
kind of westerny fringe outside movies, but either way. And then
He's a screenwriter too.
and then Sabrina Impactori, I think is how you say her name, are the two that have apparently been cast in said Office universe expansion.
He was in Peter Rabbit.
That's not what I'm thinking of. I want to say it wouldn't be True Grit because that was too long ago. I feel like it may have been like The Revenant, unless I'm mixing him up with someone else.
He's in Star Wars. Wait, is this actor? Yeah, actor. The Patient, The Kitchen, The Little Stranger, Psychic, Peter Rabbit, Run, Frank of Ireland, White House Plumbers, Worry World, Springleaf, and Alice and Jack. Literally is all he's ever played in.
Guess I am confusing him with someone else then. Interesting.
Yeah.
Either way, kind of cool. And that does it for the news.
Excellent.
I know we sped through, but looks like we only shaved about 9 minutes off what we normally would have.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to point out too, I also cut the news out to where literally the news I'm covering today was only what we would have covered if the episode was a week ago because we did delay the episode.
Yeah.
So to keep it fair for all the episodes as well as our upcoming schedule, we've already talked about on the show. We're not recording next week like we would normally do to get back on schedule because
Right.
of my Star Wars marathon. So we will be back in 2 weeks. Same thing will happen every single episode we have for the next 3
It'll
episodes.
be 2 weeks worth of news.
2 weeks worth of news where the episode would have actually been naturally. Otherwise, you end up stealing from Peter to pay Paul type
Yep.
thing. So that's how we're generally doing it. So if there's some massive news that happens, and I don't think there is anything right now, and you don't see it covered in the next couple episodes where you think it should have, that's probably why.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and jump on over to the main topic, and Peter can take over because
All
it is his rodeo.
This is one of those classic questions that people pose to people. What would you rewatch for the first time if you could rewatch something? And it's always been a fascinating question to me for video games because video games, like Tad said earlier, he alluded to it, in high school, we were huge gamers. Like, we camped out and waited for the Halo 2.
Halo 2, yep.
The Xbox 360,
Yep.
all those ones.
We
you
both
know.
ended up in line for the Xbox One
Xbox One
on Thanksgiving night.
in different Walmarts in different parts of the state of Utah.
Yeah,
so.
but we were both in line. We were texting each other. It's like just like
Which
old
one?
times.
Which one are you getting? No, I'm getting this one. Hey, that's the one I'm getting. Because
Well, and that was not the original console
No.
either. That was the one that was that was being released with the Halo Master Chief Collection.
Yeah, the Master Chief Collection, and I got the one that came with the. I got a Kinect that went with mine because I was so cool to have the voice activated Xbox on, kind of thing. So,
Watch my Xbox turn on.
but we've always been big gamers. Tad was gaming well before I was. I wasn't allowed video games until I got to high school and could pay for it myself, basically.
And even that felt like it was a little bit of a fight.
It was. It was. I had to claw my way to rated M games and everything. But I'm a huge gamer now. Like we talked about earlier, Tad has an Xbox, Series X, and a PS5 and a Switch.
And a Switch. It's first time.
Yep.
Probably since the late '90s that I had all the most recent consoles.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it would have been because I think the last time I had all three of the major consoles was PlayStation, Super Nintendo, and Sega Genesis. because I think as it moved into the next generation and we got into like the
N64.
Sega. What was the
Dreamcast?
Dreamcast.
Yep.
We never got that one. It failed quick enough that we never got. But we did have the 64, the PlayStation, like
PlayStation 2.
yeah, like and even like GameCube into that era, like whatever. But like
Yep.
yeah, this is the first time in a long time that I've had all the major new release consoles.
Yeah, and like I said before, I've gone to PC gaming exclusively. I don't think I've turned my Xbox on for like to play a game for like I actually turned it on 3 or 4 months ago and just looked through my library of games I have on there and I went, I have that on PC, I have that on PC. I don't ever want to play that. I have that on PC.
I had turned mine on just to see what I had in there because I'm like, as when I was coming up with my list
Yeah.
here. Because ultimately, yeah, there's a lot of thought put into this one
Yeah.
for me.
So it comes down to it is top 10 games that you would want to replay for the first time.
So one clarifying question, and I
Absolutely.
could have said this to you before, but I wanted to just put you on the spot on this show.
Go ahead.
Ultimately, the dating of the games doesn't affect anything, right? Like just because, like, if you picked a Nintendo 64 game, for instance, like it's not going to affect the enjoyment by the
No.
fact that it's a 30-year-old
No.
game. Okay, that's how I approach the list anyway.
Yeah.
So if you would have disagreed, I would have just said fuck off. That's how I did it.
Yep,
Because
that's fine.
Because ultimately, there are some like older games that are huge for me, and I just
Oh, yeah.
you know, like yes, it's kind of hard to compare a game that came out in 1996 versus something that came out
Last year.
this
Yeah.
year. But yeah, that's
No,
kind of that's
absolutely.
how I'm approaching it.
Basically, that's where it comes down to also is I didn't set parameters for how Tad should make his list. Are you picking this because it was the most fun to play? Are you picking this because the story enchanted you the most and everything like that? Like, what about... I want to do it... Is it different for each game? Or did you set like a rule for you when you made your list?
I don't think there's a singular rule. But I will say like
Okay.
replayable was not in the equation
Yeah.
because if it's for the first time, it doesn't really matter to me that like
Is it replayable?
yeah, like I'm trying to think of an example off the top of my head. For example, one that was on my list early, and I don't even think I kept it as one of my honorable mentions. Let me check. Oh, it is, but it doesn't matter. It's whatever. Super Mario World,
Okay.
1990, Super Nintendo.
Yep.
I think one of the greatest Mario games of all time.
Yep.
I love replaying the fuck out of that, but I really could not point to an element of playing that was like mind-blowing, life-changing. Like, you know, like there wasn't a lot about that game. I mean, I remember the cape being crazy and new, but you already had the raccoon suit before. Yoshi is probably the only thing in that game that was like, holy shit, this is different.
Yeah.
And I just so for me, it wasn't the discovery of the first time playing that game.
Sure.
It was more of like I probably replayed that in the last couple months. Like just turned my Switch on, started that game, erased one of the save files, started from ground zero, and then probably
Just
within
played
a day or two was beating Bowser. So
Yeah.
like, so that would be my example. It's like it isn't necessarily replayable because there's some replayable games that there wasn't anything notable about the first time playing. There wasn't like
Yeah.
a wow factor. There wasn't.
Sure.
Those are the old Super Nintendo Star Wars games. Love the fuck out of those games. But
Yeah.
they're not going to make the list because there wasn't like a oh my god like
Yeah.
that's my approach.
Yeah,
I guess.
exactly. So for me, it was just simply off of like a large part of mine is the story and how much I remember enjoying playing the game the first time I played it.
Yeah. And so I will say story is a big one for me. I meant
Yeah.
to say that. Story is going to be a big, 'cause you know me, I'm a big story guy. But there are a few other things as we get to some of these I'll touch on as we talk about.
It'll
But
be the same. It'll be the same for me. Yeah,
but stories is always going to be a big thing because there is that.
Yeah.
That's the difference between the Super Mario World on Super Nintendo versus some of the ones on my list because the stories of those games are those moments when your jaw drops or
Yep.
when you're moved to emotion of some kind because you're playing this game and it's like holy
Mm-hmm.
fucking shit. One that didn't even enter my mind till just now. What was the Call of Duty game that the nuke went off?
Call of Duty 4.
That is like, I mean, that is one I almost, if I would have thought of, I may have even put it on my shotgun list because that was like, that was so
Holy
different
shit.
than anything we'd ever
Yeah.
seen before. We didn't have
Even
theatrical,
like, yeah.
first-person shooters weren't that theatrical of like
Yeah.
these big scripted moments that were like, holy shit. Like, that wasn't the way shooters were made before that. So that was like a moment of like, holy fuck, I remember like
Yeah.
playing that for the first time and being blown away. So
Yeah.
that's a good example without teasing anything on my list of like, that's kind of how I was generally approaching it. So story, it's a perfect word for
And that's the reason.
umbrella for me.
And that's the reason why one of the games that I've talked about for years now, 7 Days to Die, didn't make my list. Spoiler, is that the replay value is still there. I'm still going to play the 7
To
Days to Die.
death, right?
Yeah. I looked it up the other day. I have over 1,800 hours in this game since I got it on PC and everything, and that doesn't count when I had it on Xbox.
Yeah.
But the thing is that there is no story.
Yeah.
It's just a survival crafting game. It's like playing Minecraft.
Yeah.
Which,
for me, it's like Command & Conquer. That was one that I thought of.
Yeah.
I played Command & Conquer since I was in grade school. But as I thought about it, I'm like, was there ever any time on any of those games I was like,
holy shit.
no, but can I still throw some of those games on today and play them and love the fuck out of it? Yes.
Absolutely.
But there wasn't a moment where like it didn't even make my shotgun list because I'm like, I can't, that doesn't really equate for how I view this.
Exactly.
So kind of to speak to what you're saying with, and so there's probably a number of games that if people know us and know our taste in games, there might be some where people are like, whoa, I can't believe X, Y, or Z is not on one of their lists. And that's probably why, is because we're ultimately talking about that first experience.
Exactly. So let's start off with honorable mentions. I only have one, and you said you have a few.
I got two more after my Super Mario World.
Okay. So my honorable mention is Halo 2. The reason why I'm not putting this on my list is simply because the multiplayer is dead. There is no multiplayer, because that's what Halo 2 was. As great as the story was and everything like that, the multiplayer is what made Halo 2.
And I will say, like, in that kind of account, I actually kind of assumed the fact that it would be the same as when we would have played a certain game.
Yeah.
So, like, the multiplayer would have been, like, I guess part of it, I guess. So, yeah.
I left it off for that, is that I'm looking at the story alone. It's the middle of a trilogy. It didn't have any closure or anything like that. Still a great story, which is why it gets on my honorable mentions. I actually did have it on my list until my number 10 bumped it off.
Okay.
So that's the reason why it's my honorable mention.
So mine, I already mentioned Super Mario World, one of my all-time favorite Mario games. Also on my list, Splinter Cell Chaos Theory.
Oh, I forgot about the Splinter Cell series.
I wondered if there was anything that
I should have had. I should have had that on my honorable mention.
So it was hard to really pick because there's like especially I would say 4 Splinter Cells that were like fucking bangers.
Yeah.
After that, it's when they started to kind of change things up too much or whatever. But those first 4 were pretty great, and I was kind of flipping through them in my mind, and I'm just like, I just think 3 was just the ultimate culmination, and like
it was polished too. Like the mechanics that they had.
Yeah.
You finally got a knife where it's like, why doesn't he have a knife? That's how you kill people quietly in video games, is with a knife.
Yeah.
And everything. Also, like the graphics were amazing.
Yeah.
With what they were doing on the Xbox and everything.
I feel like the story, I don't remember all the stories exactly, but I remember the story in that one being one of my favorites of and I replayed them probably year or two ago.
Yeah.
I bought them all on Xbox and went through and played the first, I think I got into like midway through Conviction before I petered out. But so I played through, and I remember just walking away from that being like, dude, the third is my favorite of them.
Yeah,
so,
I've always known the Chaos Theory was my favorite.
Yeah.
The problems with 1 is that it's just so clunky. Like,
Yeah.
the controls get refined in 2 a little bit, and then
Yeah.
in 3 they nail it.
The only thing that sucks is every one of them, they change a button.
Yep.
So when you're playing through them straight through, there's like, oh, 1, this button is like the whistle. And then this button's like change your weapon. And then like changes to where the one that was changing your weapon now whistles. And you're like trying to change your weapon and you whistle at a guy. And it's just.
Was that someone whistling for me to come over there?
It fucks me over every single time because it's not massive changes.
Nope, it's
There's
just
just
that little
small tweaks and it fucking kills me.
Also, one of the greatest quotes from our friendship is from Chaos Theory.
We quote that game all
Will
the
you
time.
stop making me feel old? Sam, you are old.
Good Lord. Who's that? Yeah,
it should have absolutely been on my honorable mentions. I'm a failure for not having it. I do not have it currently on PC.
Yeah, and then
it's probably the reason why. Which I found out Splinter Cell 2 cannot be played on computers.
Really?
The lighting mechanic that they used in that, because there's a couple like sunset daytime missions.
Yeah, I remember those.
Remember
there's the one with the blinds?
Yep. Apparently it fucks computers.
Really?
Like causes them to crash and shit like that.
They need to remaster all of those, man.
They just need to put them on next gen and put them as one game like the Arkham games.
Yeah,
did.
upgrade them all next gen, dude. That'd be brilliant. And my third final honorable mention, Gears of War.
Oh,
that first game.
Finding out the story,
the idea of like hiding and shooting, and like because like they said the whole idea they got is they played paintball and they're like, this should be in a video game where you have to like grab cover. That chainsaw, the first time you use that fucking chainsaw.
I can't tell you the number of times that I ran around a map revving my chainsaw trying to
Dude.
chainsaw someone.
Oh, absolutely. And then those fucking beasts.
The berserkers.
Dude. How many times have we screamed like girls?
Oh, so
because
many.
one of those popped. And then what is it? The second game, they're not even in the fucking game.
Nope.
Like, how do you do that?
Nope.
So as I was thinking through Gears of War, I was immediately like, well, there's no fucking question. It's the first game.
It's the
like,
first
just
one.
yeah. So those are my honorable mentions.
Okay.
Those are the ones that I shotgunned a list, got it down to 13, and then, had
I need to
cut the
replay.
line.
I need to replay the Gears of War. I need to put that on my list.
Yeah, they're
I
fun.
haven't even played all the way through the series. I never finished it.
I
so.
haven't either.
Yeah.
I haven't either. I don't even know if I played. Was the second one the one that had the arena thing, which
Yeah.
was pretty innovative?
We played it
because we ended up.
It was the waves of bad
Yeah,
guys.
'cause
where
they-
it was me and you playing co-op.
They ended up ripping that off for multiple shooters after that.
Yeah.
like the Halo, one of the Halo games had that. And
Reach
shit.
has it.
So,
Yeah.
and it's just it's the coolest fucking game style I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It was like should have been in first-person shooters 20 years ago. So it
Yeah.
just felt like, how is nobody?
Well, now they have
discovered
it
this?
in every single Call of Duty with zombies.
Yeah, it's
So.
and people love it. Like
Oh, yeah.
that's some of people's favorite game
It's
types.
what people buy Call of Duties for. I found
Yeah.
I did not know this, but I found out just recently that there is a community of people that buy Call of Duties, never touch the campaign, never touch the multiplayer online, and only play zombies.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame them.
Like, holy shit, they should just develop imagine what would happen if Call of Duty developed just a zombie game.
Yeah.
Like, went full in on that.
Now let me just throw since we're on the zombie topic real quick.
Yeah.
Why has Red Dead 2 not done an Undead Nightmare?
I'm still disappointed that they haven't.
Like, dude, I would pay a full $60 if they put
Same.
that out. Like same map, but you're just changing it all up to where it's just a fucking zombie horde across that
They
massive
come down
fucking
they
map.
come down out of the snow and it's a zombie apocalypse.
Dude, I'm fucking there. Like,
That's it.
just, oh my God,
give me that's a whole new game, but you're using the exact same mechanic. Like, you don't have
Yeah.
to redevelop everything and build from the ground up.
No, yeah.
Just copy and paste and then just give me where and don't even make it as long as Red Dead 2.
Yeah.
Just make it where you have like Undead
Well,
Nightmare was a little bit shorter.
Yeah, because it had its own specific story. It wasn't like it wasn't just changing people all over to zombies and then you play through the normal campaign.
No.
Just do the same thing. Just have me zombies and even have because there was like the Bigfoot and there was some of the creature stuff. Imagine if there were werewolves in
Oh,
some of
no.
those in
No.
some of those woods.
Uh-uh.
You just shivered like full on, dude.
Zombie gators down in the bayou.
Dude, zombie gators.
down in the bayou.
Oh man, yeah, you in the bayou with zombies. I would love to watch that. That'd have to be a streaming.
There's
thing.
a Left 4 Dead 2 level that has a bayou level where a hurricane's coming through, and so you have spats where it's starting to rain and pour, and you just have to sit still and hope that zombies don't notice you.
Yeah.
Like, it's terrifying.
Alrighty, so how do you want to do this?
Should we just go back and forth, or should we just? You know what? Let's just do my 10 and then your 10.
Oh, okay.
I think we should. Is that going to
don't-
mess up your slides?
No, I have it doing. We just never done anything like that before.
I think we should just do that. I think we're going to change it up. I'm going to try this. We're going to do my 10, and then we'll do your 10.
Okay, that works for me.
Not throw off anyone's groove. So we'll start with my 10th one, which
All right, let me let me just make sure this is set up right. Of course, I knew it was going to change on me and do that. All right. Okay, so your 10. So I am going to transition over to the new screen with your number 10. I have a new design on the
cool.
the slide too.
Fallout 4. I actually just played Fallout 4 for the first time, starting this year. I played Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. New Vegas is one of the very few games that I ever played through. Didn't realize that there was multiple endings, so I turned around, played it again, but this time with a guide where I could decide and direct and everything like that. Loved it. Went to go play Fallout 4. I played maybe like 20 minutes of it and went, nope, this is too much. Like, I've just played Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. I need a break. So, took a break for a couple of years. Completely forgot that I had it in my Steam library. But with the Fallout game series coming out, I was like, all right, I'll go give it another shot. Started up a new game and everything. Fucking love it, dude.
Yeah.
Masterclass in storytelling.
At some point, you just need to make up for me a list of if I were to approach the Fallout series, what's the way to do that? That's what you need to come up with for me at some point.
The one thing is that a lot of people will. I know that a lot of people poo-poo games that are not made by the original studio. but I'll tell you, Fallout New Vegas is a lot of fun. Fallout 4 is probably the most polished, though.
Yeah.
Because, like, there was things good in Fallout 3, but you have to realize Fallout, even though it's called Fallout 3, it's the first one of its kind. Because Fallout 1 and 2 were different style games.
Yeah.
So Fallout New Vegas was done by a different studio. But what I loved is that Fallout 4, done by the original Bethesda guys, they didn't have too much pride to take what was good about Vegas and put it in their game.
Yeah.
Which is great. So that's the reason I'm actually going through, and like I said in my reading, playing, watching, I'm actually replaying Fallout 4 now with the new stuff in it.
Yeah.
Also, having played it once is awesome, but knowing certain mechanics, I messed up my first playthrough, and it really kind of set me back. But with it being an RPG, I could build to undo my mistakes, but this time I'm not going to have to do that, so it's going to be kind of interesting to play through the game how it was supposed to be intended without my mistakes.
Yeah.
So it's
So what is it about the game that puts it on this list?
the story is amazing, but also at the same time, I love the idea that the setting is one of the most original ideas. Also, the depth that you can get into this game. There's computer terminals that are still working from before the bombs were dropped.
Yeah.
And there's vaults that you go in and explore. So I don't know how much you know about Fallout.
Yeah. I
Is
remember the
that-
vaults in the original.
Yeah, so the story is that after World War II, instead of there being an anti-nuclear movement, the world basically embraces nuclear as its source of power.
Excellent.
So cars are powered by that.
Yeah.
There's a robot in revolution where they make robots that do, like, they trim your hedges and everything like that. And they're the opening scene of Fallout 4, you're either a husband or a wife, and there's a robot caring for your infant son. Like, he's floating around caring for your son and everything, and he's called Mr. Codsworth. So
Is he saying "Oba"?
no,
Oba"?
no, he's not. He's not a birthing robot, all right? And that's a droid, not a robot. So, but the setting of it is fascinating. But also, I love the fact that there's so much lore that you can read up on,
Yeah.
and dive into. But also at the same time, I love that they accept that there's different styles of play. Because when you're playing a Spider-Man game,
Yeah.
you have to be Spider-Man. He's
Yeah.
Spider-Man. You can't be a dick, you know?
That's unfortunate.
So Fallout embraces that some people are Tad and want to be evil, sadistic, murdering psychopaths. You can do that in Fallout.
I call it being a pragmatist.
Basically, what it comes down to is that in Fallout 4, they simplified the dialogue. There's up, down, left, or right. So when you're playing on a controller, you just select on the D-pad which one you want to do. Or it's the buttons. I don't know because I play on PC, so I use mouse and keyboard. But the right option is always being a dick, basically. It's like,
So that's all I'll ever push then.
basically.
Okay. That's
But you have to be careful. Sometimes they change it for some reason.
bastards.
Because one time
they're evil.
I was accidentally a dick to a character that I liked because it was the down option. I was like, wait a minute, that's always supposed to be right. God damn you, Bethesda. But it's number 10 because the other games ahead of this had way more impact on me. Like I said, I just barely started playing this. But this will be a game that I like to replay because it's going to be mostly the same. So I'm going to remember, okay, I remember this mission. I have to go do this. I have to go kill this person. I have to gather this loot or whatever.
Yeah.
But there is always different things that you can do. Your skill perks and everything like that make it so that it can be different playthroughs. The first time I played through this, I played entirely solo. I didn't take a companion with me almost at all. And there's I think there's 9 or 10 I didn't even encounter all of the companions that you can have.
Yeah.
And there's side missions that you can have. I mean, it's kind of like Knights of the Old Republic, depending on who you have with you. You know, there's Bastila's mom.
Yeah, it
you
triggers
can
different
encounter.
stuff. Yeah.
I'm totally committed in this playthrough. I'm going to be bringing companions with me for different things and everything like that. So it's going to be a lot of fun having them input dialogue and stuff like that. It's going to be a whole new experience for me. So that's why Fallout's great, is that, and it is a shooter at the end of the day.
Yeah.
They refine their shooting. Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas are for shooting. Fallout 4 is nice. It's not
Yeah.
as crisp as like Halo or Call of Duty or some of those other shooters, but it's good enough to get by where you're like, okay, I can actually shoot something and feel like I aimed and I hit what I was aiming at.
Yeah.
So there's those shooters where it's like, okay, you need to put a little bit more work into, like Grand Theft Auto. Some of the Grand Theft Autos, it's like, okay, my guy needs to be able to hit the side of a barn when he has 50 rounds in his magazine and he empties it from 4 feet away and misses every shot. Like, come on,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So that's why Fallout 4 is on my list at number 10.
Alrighty. Let me see see how this works. Okay, so that's what I thought I was going to do. But the picture changes. All right, so let me transition that over so it actually shows on the list. All right. Trying to figure out the mechanics now that I've got multiple things
Sure
going.
thing.
So I've got the picture and then I've got the list. So
Yeah.
number 9.
Borderlands 3. This is the first Borderlands that I played like waiting for it to launch. I played Borderlands 1 and 2 because my wife's favorite streamer Jeremy played them on his stream in anticipation of Borderlands 3 coming out. And I love the story. I love the mechanic of it where you can play up to 4-player co-op, but you don't have to. That's the thing I love about Borderlands, and spoiler, there is another Borderlands on my list, is that it is designed where me, you, Hayden, and Lydia could all play through as Borderlands and be individual characters with individual talents and skills and all that kind of stuff. And then we could play again and we could swap roles. Like,
Yeah.
you could take my character, I'll take your character, and Lydia and Hayden could swap. And I love that. Also, the story is phenomenal. It's a fun story. It's a unique world, which I kind of like more so than just here on Earth. Like, Fallout's fascinating because it's set 200 years in the future
Yeah.
and everything. Borderlands is there's no Earth. It's a completely different universe and everything.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating. The world's phenomenal. The characters are great. And this is one of the first games I had where your character spoke and had lines and everything.
Yeah.
And it's got a comedic value to it where they're all just a bunch of assholes. Even your character's an asshole. There's one in Borderlands 3. He's an Irish accent, and he's a former special agent, and he's just so full of himself. Cocky, arrogant. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Alcoholic, like, oh, let's have a drink instead of doing this fight. No? All right, I'll kick your bollocks. You know, that kind of shit. Like,
Yeah.
funny. My favorite character in Borderlands 3 is a robot that became sentient and decided that he wanted to murder the universe. So he's just going around trying to kill everything.
Seems like a great fella.
His name's Flack. You should try him out.
Flag?
Flack.
Damn.
Close.
If it was Flag, I'd be all for
You'd
it.
be like, oh my god.
My life for him.
But I love Borderlands. I thought the cell shading was really stupid when the original Borderlands came out. I thought it looked way too cartoony and not serious. But it's still a fun game. It's got an interesting story and everything. So you don't have to play the first 2 Borderlands to understand it. They do like a whole recap at the beginning. But it is fun having played the first 2 that you're like, oh, and there's reoccurring characters too. It's like, oh, hey, that's the guy from 2. That's the girl from 1. Like, look at that. They're in this game. So
Yeah.
that's always fun. High replay value for me. I know we said that's not a thing, but I still play it now.
No, I mean, ultimately, I wouldn't imagine there'd be much on this list that we would have that we would never want to replay, right? Usually,
That's the reason why it's on the list.
yeah. Usually, if you're if there's something you would love to play for the first time, it's because and probably you're replaying to chase that feeling you had the
Yep.
first time, probably. So.
And I had a ton of fun playing Borderlands 3 the first time, so that's the reason why it's on my list.
Alrighty, awesome. Let me go like this, and I guess I will find the pedal, and then change that, and then go like that. There we go.
Awesome. Halo
Number 8.
Reach.
Okay.
One of the greatest last levels in any video game.
Not many that match that in terms of the fact that you're going to lose too.
Yep.
That's pretty unique in
Yeah.
video games.
Lone Wolf, I think
Yeah.
is what it's called.
Yeah.
Um,
Lens starts cracking and
Yep.
shit. It's great.
and everything. I love Halo Reach. I love the story because we were such Halo nerds
yeah.
all through high school. I mean, hell, playing Halo once at your house on the original Xbox literally made me go and change,
Trade
in my
you.
PS2 and all the games and all the memory cards I had for one Xbox, one controller, and one copy of Halo.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I'm not kidding. Like, it was excellent.
It's a
and
glorious
everything.
thing.
And the multiplayer in it was okay, but that wasn't a huge factor for me for it making my list. The story alone was phenomenal because Halo Reach was a book before it was a video game, and it doesn't follow the book precisely.
Yeah.
But I love that we're an original character. We're not Master Chief. We're a Spartan before all the Spartans were dead, and Master Chief was the last one.
Yeah.
And everything.
And in the events preceding the original game.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like
it's a
the
prequel.
The first Halo is literally like fleeing from the fall of Reach. Like that was
Yeah.
that was the opening moments
This
of
is
the first Halo.
This is Rogue One to Episode 4 is
Exactly,
Halo.
exactly.
That's exactly what it is. Like they're running from the Battle of Reach.
Yeah.
In the first Halo, so it's awesome to see. Also, this is going to be kind of controversial. I will say, one of my favorite Halo games because there's no flood.
Those little onion bastards.
I fucking hate onions. That's what we call the little spores of the flood. Is we call them onions.
What do other people call them? That's what I've always wondered. Like,
Spores.
for us, they're onions, but it's like spores.
My wife says, "Fuck the flood."
Dude, still though, that first time playing the first game though, and you, it's like the whole fucking game changes on its head. It's like, what the fuck is going on?
Exactly.
Here? But no,
16-year-old Peter was not ready for that.
I agree though that in terms of the fact that not having the flood is definitely a unique aspect.
I'm telling you right now, I cannot tell you the joy. Like the chainsaw in Gears of War, I cannot tell you the joy that I had in assassinating elites as a Spartan. Climbing up on their backs, snapping their necks, stabbing them, or any of those different animations that they had.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I wish we had more Reach, where we had more Spartans and more assassinations, where you could just like evolve and do more.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
which actually is a mechanic that was incorporated into later Halo games.
Yeah.
So impactful for me that we got Noble Team, and I loved the Noble Team, the story with them and everything. Great story. Phenomenal story and everything. See the birth of Cortana and everything.
Yeah.
Awesome game.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
It is a good one. We just replayed it not too long ago.
We
the
did.
last couple of years probably, right?
Yeah.
I think we finished it because we were talking like going through all the Halos in order, at least the first, the Reach through 3 at least.
Yeah.
And I think we petered out in the middle of the first game.
I really don't think that we ever finished Reach. I don't think we did.
We did because we weren't even to like Assault on the Control Room yet. We were still early on into the first game before we. I don't remember what happened. I think schedules changed for us or something to where it made it hard to jump on and play some co-op.
Yeah, because that's right around. That was a few years ago. Because that's right around when I got laid off from our mutual job.
I don't think it was that long ago.
I think it was, dude.
No,
I think it was.
I wouldn't remember if it was that long ago.
Because I've been playing PC now for at least 4 years.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
I don't know. Right?
But either way, you need to get it on your computer. Then we can play.
I have the Master Chief
Collection. You got it on your PC?
Uh-huh.
We're going to play some Halo, dude?
I mean, maybe.
We need to set up a time and play some Halo. There we go. Let's do that.
Yeah.
All right. What's number 7?
Let's see. Let me go ahead and change it over there and then change the picture. Number 7.
Borderlands 2. One of the most evil, vile, disgusting pieces of shit ever in video game history.
You honor me. Go on.
The bad guy in Borderlands 2 is one that I'll tell you right now, we're going to get a reaction from my wife in the chat because this guy
She also said Reach is her favorite Halo.
Oh, nice. I missed that. But yeah, Handsome Jack is the bad guy in Borderlands 2, and he is in your ear the entire game, squawking at you, bad-talking you, calling you names and everything like that, and you finally get to fight him at the end. It's the same reasons with Borderlands 3. You still get a choice between 4 operators. With the DLC, there's 6 of them. Amazing story. Yep, there it is. She says, fucking piece of shit, egotistical asshole. He is absolutely, just horrible.
I don't know this guy.
You will love him.
As I say, I don't know this guy, but I love the cut of his jib.
You would love him. Absolutely love him. All you have to do is, even if you're not going to play Borderlands, just look up Handsome Jack's best moments from Borderlands 2. So, Borderlands 2 takes place after the first game, and it's one of those sequels where some sequels build the world and make it less intriguing,
Yeah.
Borderlands 2 built the world to make it more intriguing, which is great. It's world building. Like I said, with Borderlands 3, it's set in an entirely original universe. The thing with 3 that I forgot to say, Borderlands 1 and 2 take place on one planet. Borderlands 3 is the first one that takes place in the galaxy, so you actually go to multiple planets and see different climates and different cultures and stuff like that, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But Borderlands 2, the story behind it and some of the stuff you find out, and everything, the twists in there are awesome.
Yeah.
And it's got a high replay value because you can play through as different characters if you're just playing solo.
Yeah. Well, you're selling me on this guy. It makes me want to go play this game.
You don't even have to play Borderlands. Just play Borderlands 2.
Yeah, because he sounds like a wonderful fella.
Yeah. He's called Handsome Jack. I mean, what's not to like, right?
Yeah, there's some handsome jacks I know over there on the shelf by you.
Hey there. Right there.
Yeah, Mr. John Daniels. He's a good-looking fella.
From Tennessee.
Yeah, especially after drinking a few.
All right, on to number 6.
Number 6.
I'm going to speed up a little bit. Halo 3, like I said with Reach, I love the Halo series. This makes the list more than 2 because we get the conclusion to the story. The Covenant and the rings and everything like that.
Yeah.
Also, this is the first Halo that had like the bubble shield and everything like that. Those were so much fun throughout the campaign. You get the introduction of the Brutes, which I love the Brutes.
Yeah.
You get the split of the Covenant. That was also a detractor for Halo 2 I forgot to mention. I still don't like the Arbiter levels. I'm Master Chief and you take that away from me in the sequel. That's kind of bullshit. So it's a little bit less in Halo 3 because you play with the Arbiter through the campaign. You don't ever stop being Master Chief.
Yeah, unless you're playing co-op.
Unless you're playing second player, then second player can be the Arbiter. But it doesn't really like affect the game like it did in 2. I always hated that, going back and replaying the campaign of 2. It's like, God damn it, I'm on an Arbiter level. I come home from a day's work, and I'm like, yeah, let's play some more Halo 2. Fuck, it's this. Never mind. I'll just go play multiplayer. So that was the big reason for Halo 2. I forgot about that. I'm sorry. But Halo 3, Masterclass. Also, I'll tell you right now, video game trailer I've watched the most.
Yeah?
Am I wrong?
I mean...
It's probably the same for you, too.
Yeah.
We watched that fucking trailer, that E3 one, over and over and over again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where he drops the bubble shield and the cannon, the tank shot comes in and hits it, and then he goes running up to the crater's edge. We watched that so goddamn much.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great.
Maybe Halo 2 might rival it, but...
Yeah. The one thing I remember is back then I did a lot of gaming magazines.
Yeah.
And I made that binder where I cut every article about Halo 2 out, and I had that giant binder of every article for like a year.
Forgot about that.
I think I found it not too long ago.
Do you still have it?
It's still somewhere, yeah. I didn't throw it
that's
I don't think I
cool.
threw it away. Yeah, it's because it's just like...
Yeah.
I don't think I did. I don't know. Yeah, it was cool, though.
But yeah. That's the reason why Halo 3 is on the list.
All right,
number 5. Probably a surprising one for my wife. Did you change it? Oh, there it goes. Batman Arkham Knight. I always forget that I'm on a delay here.
It's like Scream.
Yeah.
A 30-second delay.
He's on a 30-second delay. I love the Batman Arkham series. Top to bottom, all 4 games, even the Arkham Origins that's not made by Rocksteady. My wife says this is very surprising. Arkham Knight is fun. It has a way more polished combat system than Arkham City is, or way more than Asylum does. The story is fascinating to me. The detractor from it versus City, the ending to Arkham Knight is not as good.
I think they overplayed the Batmobile.
Yeah?
Yeah, as I played through them, I haven't played through them nearly as much as you. I think the Batmobile was too overemphasized.
Yeah.
I felt like half the time it felt like I was playing like a car game.
Yeah, that's the most, what's the way I'm trying to say this? That's what I've heard the most criticism about with this game, is that the Batmobile's done too much. I actually went through and played through one time because I love this game and I play it all the time. The one thing I did with the Batmobile is I didn't use it.
Yeah.
Except when I had to.
When you yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't use it to travel between the 3 islands.
Yeah.
I would glide every time. And I was like, this is fun, but I understand why they introduced the Batmobile because this is so much slower.
And it's definitely not. I'm not even to say they shouldn't have had it in there. I just think it went way heavier than. There's a balance.
Yeah.
And I think they went a little bit over on the balance to where it was just a little bit too much Batmobile in the game. But that I still love it. I mean, I think I probably replayed it more than the other ones.
Yeah. It's a great story too. It's a fun story. It's the first time the Arkham series goes to Gotham. Actually, Gotham proper.
Yeah.
Because Arkham City is set in Gotham, but they've cordoned off a section of the old city to be a max prison.
Yeah.
A super max prison and everything. But I mean, and then you can't go wrong with fucking Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy as Batman and Joker.
Plus the goons.
Oh, the goons. Them talking are the
The
best.
goons are the best, dude. I love it.
Yeah, where they are always like trash talking Batman.
Oh, dude. It's the best. Or when they're just, they're talking. Like, I don't know. Everything about the goons in the game is the best.
Again, one of the nice things about Batman Arkham Knight is that Arkham Origins came out between City and Night, which is 2 and 3 in the series, and Origins is a prequel that takes place before Asylum and made by a different studio. But they reference the events that happened in Arkham Origins. There's a Blackgate riot at Blackgate Prison, and there's one goon that goes, I was at Blackgate, Arkham Asylum, even in Arkham City, and I never saw Batman once. Man, I'm like, all right, where's that motherfucker? He's going to have a broken arm when I'm done with it.
I love the ones when they talk shit.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Batman's not scary. It's like, all right, where's that guy? All right, where is he?
The worst, though, is when you lose one of them after they say something.
Oh, yeah.
Like it changes to another goon in a different area, and you hear him, and I'm like, wait, I want to go find the
No,
other
I gotta
one.
go find that guy. You know, one of my wife's all-time favorites is there's one of the checkpoints for the Arkham Knight soldiers. There's one where it's just one guy by himself late in the game, and he has like turrets watching his back, and he's on a computer, like typing away on the computer with his back to Batman. If you stand there and listen to him talk, he sits there and just monologues to himself. He's talking to himself constantly.
Yeah.
Oh, stupid. Why am I left here by myself? Good thing I got these sentry turrets. Batman will never get close to me. Of course, you can disable them and be standing behind him doing this.
Yeah.
Eventually, he goes, system error. Pretend I didn't see that and delete. It's just the comedy in it.
Yeah.
And then having Joker in your head the entire game, basically. Mark Hamill just chirping at you.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if you've ever seen the subtle image changes where you're affected by the fear toxin, where like a billboard, there's a man putting a pearl necklace on a woman, which of course it has to be pearls.
Yeah, naturally.
If you look away and look back, it'll be Batman garroting Joker. And lightning will flash and it'll change back. There's little things like that. Statues will change into the Joker.
What about the man bat? Isn't that in this game? The
The man bat jump scare. I have videos of me jumping to that.
Yeah, that's
on like my front room cameras and stuff like that.
That's good stuff, man.
That's what my wife just put that in the chat. The man bat Joker parts are the best because the Joker pretends to be man bat later and scares you as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Arkham Knight. Let's move on.
Alrighty.
So, but it does still make my top 5.
Yeah, that's true. Into top 5 now. All right, number 4.
That's not my number 4.
What?
Is that my number 4?
Yeah.
Did I mess up? I don't think I copied my list correctly when I text it to you.
Yeah, that's what I got for number 4.
Oh, this should have been my number 2.
Really? Yeah, I was wondering.
I have a is number 3 Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Spider-Man should have been 4. Halo should have been 2.
Okay.
So, go ahead and reveal 3 and 2 as well while we're at it, and I'll just talk about all four of them real fast.
All right.
So Halo's second, Red Dead Redemption 2 is 3, and then Spider-Man was supposed to be 4. So I'll start at Spider-Man and work my way up.
Okay. So there we go.
Thank you. Spider-Man was the reason why I bought a PlayStation. I pretended to buy it for my wife. I'm like, here, you wanted to play Little Big Planet and everything.
That's why I bought a PS5.
Is to play Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't regret it. I don't regret it at all. Spider-Man is an amazing game.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I also had The Last of Us I had heard so much about.
Yep.
So there's I had a couple things I was like, I can justify
Yeah.
PS5.
But Spider-Man is so much fun to play. I love the Peter that they got. I love the story. The story with Doc Ock is so intriguing to me. Also, the invention of Mr. Negative, completely original character As far as I know, right? I think he's pretty original.
I thought he was in the comics.
Is he in the comics?
Maybe they swiped him out of the game for the comics, but although they even ever call him Mr. Negative in the game, I feel like you don't hear him called that till like Miles Morales.
I think he's called that in the DLC. Is why I'm thinking of it.
Oh, okay. First appearance, Free Comic Book Day, The Amazing Spider-Man #1 in May of 2007. So
So well before the game.
Yeah.
My mistake. But yeah, I love Mr. Negative because I'd never seen him before. But I love that we still got to see like the Sinister Six form and go after Spider-Man and everything. But I loved how they did the twist on it, where it wasn't just them trying to rob banks. Like it was so much different. The prison break at Rikers to distract from the raft.
Yeah.
Seeing the raft in video game was cool.
Yeah.
And everything. The guy who they got to play Peter was amazing.
Perfect. Yeah.
One of the last Stan Lee cameos we got as well
Yeah.
is in the game. We get a Stan Lee cameo, which is just phenomenal to have him in a Spider-Man game.
Yeah.
Mary Jane Watson was phenomenal and on point. The story, I can't get over the story. The story is so much fun. But the single greatest thing that came out of this game is the greatest mode of transportation in any video game.
Yeah, that's
Web slinging. They did that web slinging perfectly.
I think I was like 3 or 4 playthroughs, 100% playthroughs through before I ever used the subway system.
The fast travel.
Yeah, because it was just like, why do I need a fast
It's so much fun to web sling around.
Yeah, it really is.
And then you have to turn off J. Jonah Jameson's podcast
no
of
way,
lies.
dude. No way.
It's so horrible.
I love J. Jonah Jameson's podcast, dude.
Okay, I have to ask you this question. I've always wanted to ask you this, and I'm saved it for when we talk about this game on the show for the first time. If you're web slinging up to go do a mission,
I'll stop.
You'll stop
Absolutely.
and listen to the podcast.
100%. Not only that, I will go backwards to make sure I don't trigger anything. Absolutely.
I knew it.
There's nothing that stops me in my tracks faster than a J. Jonah Jameson podcast coming through. 100. You don't even have to finish your question. I know
you knew what I was asking.
Oh, dude. Yeah, man. I've every single time.
Yeah. So Spider-Man is actually supposed to be 4. I'm sorry, I messed it up on my text to you. And then 3 would be Red Dead Redemption 2.
Okay. See. Oh, yeah. I see.
So Halo is supposed to be 2. Red Dead Redemption is supposed to be 3. And then Spider-Man was supposed to be 4. So Red Dead Redemption 2, I actually owe you a vote of thanks for this game because I was not going to play it.
Really?
No, I wasn't going to. You bought me my copy of Red Dead Redemption 2. If you remember?
I mean, no, I don't remember that, but
this one, and then that's a game I forgot to put on here. Ghost Recon Wildlands.
I thought about it, but that was just one I just loved playing so much. But I don't know if there's anything about it that was like
the controlling a squad is the first time I ever really had that for me.
Yeah.
I had it minorly in other games,
Yeah.
but this one was the first one where it was really well done. But Red Dead Redemption 2, I just remember you being like, dude, you got to play this. And I'm like, nah, it's fine. I'll wait. And you're like, nope, you can't wait. And you ended up buying me a copy of it. No, you gave me your copy because you ended up buying a digital copy.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That's when I was transferring over to digitals.
And so I put it in, and you're like, dude, the first part's like a slog. It's kind of boring and everything. I'm one of the very few people who loves the first level of Red Dead.
I did on my replay. I
Like-
did. I was like, okay, I guess I was too harsh on it.
I fucking adore it. Also, I said it about Borderlands 2 with Handsome Jack. Red Dead Redemption 2 has one of the most vile, despicable pieces of shit. I wish I could, put my fist through their face and torture them and everything. They're just vile scum, and that's Micah.
Yep.
Like, he's just the worst. I hate him so much. So
He's Mrs. Carmody level for video games.
absolutely. Probably above her.
He does give you the second holster.
He does.
That's
He
the best
does. It's true. He does. But it's such a great game. Again, another mode of transportation that's a lot of fun, just to ride a horse.
thing. Yeah.
I do use the fast travel more than I do in Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
In Red Dead.
I feel like the map's way bigger.
It is massive.
Yeah, it's so
and
big.
there's so much going on, and it's so much fun to do all the different things. I actually 100%ed this game before you did.
Yeah.
I did not realize how much work Rocksteady puts into 100%ing a game.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I still haven't got all the achievements. Well, they also added achievements for online, which I won't get,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But 100%ing the game, like doing the 100% compendium where you have to not only see the animal, you have to track it and kill it and skin it or pluck it if it's a bird.
Yeah.
Like, that's just, holy shit, all the side missions.
Yeah.
You got a time trial. It's a Rocksteady game. I mean, it's
Yeah.
got so much to it.
Rockstar.
Rockstar, sorry. Rocksteady's Batman.
Yeah.
But Rockstar is just, they do great games. They do great work, which I am still tempted to play GTA 5.
You need to. It's great.
But yeah, Arthur is one of my favorite all-time video game characters.
Yeah.
I love the idea. Again, this goes back to what I was saying about Fallout 4. One of the very first games I had where you can be an absolute dick, murder people.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we've heard your story about the O'Driscolls and what you do anytime you see one. I'll let you save that for when you talk
I think I've
about
already
it.
mentioned it on here, but yes.
But yeah, we'll talk about it some more. The acting in this game, the art, everything, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's masterpiece. Pure masterpiece.
Pure masterpiece. And then, so let's move on to number 2. Oh, shit. I just realized how much time we have left. We don't have much time. Number 2 is Halo. All the things I said about Halo 3 and Halo Reach. Plus, we already talked about literally made me trade in my PS2. And we're not talking like 1 or 2 games on PS2. I had like 9 or 10 games on PS2.
Yeah.
That I went and traded in, and they refused to take a couple of them because they were scratched. I'm like, I don't want them. Throw them away then.
Yeah.
And they're like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah. They're like, all right, we'll give you $1 for them. And they wouldn't let me trade it in because I wasn't old enough. I wasn't over 18 or some shit like that.
Yeah.
So I had to get my big sister to trade in just so I could play this game.
Yeah.
I had to play this game after playing it once at your house.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it's still.
The hours we spent playing co-op in your basement.
Oh, yeah.
In high school is unreal. We set up LAN parties.
The LAN parties
at parks.
Four
CRTV
consoles.
TVs. 4 CRT TVs, which are heavy and clunky. We're carrying them out to cars.
Two of our 3 high school yearbook days.
We spent in
lugged TVs
a teacher's room that liked us with an Xbox playing Halo.
Multiple. We had 4 Xboxes.
Oh, that's right, we did.
Yeah, we had 4 Xboxes, 4 TVs.
Yep.
And then we just told everyone on yearbook day, it's like, if you want us, we'll be in room 205 playing Xbox.
Yep, come get a signature in between games.
Yeah. Glorious stuff. Glorious stuff.
Oh, I loved it. I love it so much. It's such a great game. Great story. Again, world building, unique, and everything like that. So just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Which leads us to my number 1, which should be pretty obvious with everyone knowing me as well as they do. It's Batman Arkham City. The very first game I ever played to 100%, finished, looked at it, and went, yep, let's do it again. Turned around and played it again.
Run it again.
Run it back. It's what made me a huge Batman fan. I liked Batman. I watched the animated series growing up, and I've told this story before in my DNA of me. But going into like more details with the game, I didn't really experience a ton of Mark Hamill Joker because the animated series had different villains, not just Joker.
Yeah.
This is my first real heavy dose of Mark Hamill's Joker. I never saw Mask of the Phantasm.
Yeah.
Or
not till much later.
Not till much later. The Killing Joke. Any of those didn't exist. You know, those animated movies that started coming out in the 2000s and 2010s. But the storytelling with this, the idea of it too, because I had seen Escape from New York.
Yeah.
With shit, I just spaced on his name.
Kurt Russell.
Donald Sutherland.
What?
Not Sutherland. Dr. Loomis.
Donald Pleasance?
Donald Pleasance. He's the president.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
he has to go in and save Donald Pleasance.
Because it's John Carpenter.
Yeah, John Carpenter. But yeah, Kurt Russell has to go into a supermax prison on an island where the prisoners are just left to their own devices.
Yeah.
The idea that they did that with Batman is just genius. And then the very beginning, the first scene you have, Hugo Strange is like, I know who you are. Batman. It's like, oh shit, he knows who Batman is and everything. And it's just like, such a great game.
Yeah.
And everything. I love the gadgets that they have in there is more refined than Arkham Asylum. The fighting was better.
Goons.
The goons were amazing. Not just insane
I also love
asylums.
the word goon.
Goon's great.
It's a fun word.
Goon's great. You got my arch nemesis in the game, Penguin. And he's like the short penguin guy too. And
Gotta
everything.
love Cobblepot.
He's got the bottle jabbed in his eye.
He's great. I love him.
the one of the things with Arkham City that I absolutely love is it's my introduction to a lot of Batman villains that I never heard about.
Yeah.
I never knew who Victor Zsasz was, you know?
Yeah.
Riddler was a big one. Obviously, he is 440 Riddler stuff later. You finally get to beat his ass,
Yeah.
which is satisfying. I'm one of those weird people that likes the Riddler stuff.
Oh, I do too. I feel like that adds a lot more
Yeah.
to the thing. I was just looking it up. I didn't realize we don't still have a date for the Penguin.
Oh, really?
It just says late 2024.
Interesting. I thought we did.
Yeah, I thought we did too.
But yeah, Arkham City is my favorite game that if I could replay it again, I would absolutely do it because I couldn't get enough of it. I played straight like weeks. Like every moment I had, I would play Arkham City.
Yeah.
No breaks, no other games. You know, because like we do that. You say you're playing MLB The Show right now,
Yeah.
but then you're also playing Spider-Man 2 again.
Yeah.
So you take breaks and play the different game. And I do
Oh,
the
yeah.
same thing right now. I'm playing Fallout 4. I have Arkham Knight downloaded, and I'm also playing Madden a little bit. Football is on my mind a lot with the NFL draft happening the last 3 days.
Yeah.
And so, like, I have changed of paces. Arkham City, nah. I played that game straight for months. My wife could attest to it because we were married when I found this game. And how I stumbled across it just as a free game on Xbox Gold is just hilarious to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Changed my fate.
Indeed. Moved you away from maybe being a Superman fan. That's what we needed. We need a good Superman game. That's all I'm saying, man. For God's sake.
I would not say no to a good Superman game.
Yeah, indeed.
All right, sir, you're up.
All right, so let me go ahead and transition the slide over here. Oops, that's not right. Let's see. Get this and then go like that. There we go. There we go. The first one I've got is Star Trek: A Final Unity. It's actually a PC game from 95. The thing that's crazy about this game is it's just like a fucking next gen episode. I mean, it's more drawn out than a full episode.
Sure.
But like they have the real cast doing the voices. It's
Okay.
computer animated, but like you kind of go through and you solve this entire fucking mystery. And I will say it's probably less than a year ago. I was looking around to see like certainly another game has come along like this and still nothing.
Nothing.
Like, I'm still I mean, this is what 30 years almost later, and I'm still chasing. Like,
Yeah.
give me something like this. Like, there's got to be another game, even if it's not like the next gen crew and it's just like a made up crew. Give me a fucking Star Trek game where I could just kind of wander from system to system, but you've got a larger. It's kind of it was like an open world game almost,
Sure.
because you could travel wherever. But there's ultimately a story you're following, and like the main thing, it was like the bridge, and you were like looking at the crew, and you'd be Picard, and you'd like be able to click on the different characters to get their input, and like it was
Okay.
and it's funny. I remember buying it back in the day, and then it was like a DOS run game, so you had to
Oh,
like
yeah.
shut Windows down, rerun it into DOS, and then start the game there and
Yep.
shit. But like, it just to this day, like I said, I'm still like wondering why the fuck have people not found that this is what people want
Yeah.
for Star Trek. So to play it for the first time would be awesome because it'd be experiencing the story for the first time. It'd be kind of like flashing back to the next gen days. Like
Yeah.
again, I was a huge fan of all this. I've talked about it before, but it'd be really cool to just be able to like experience it again for the first time because apparently 30 years later they still have not
Still haven't done it again.
Still haven't done anything to come close to matching it. So that's my number 10. Number 9, I've got Knights of the Old Republic.
It's a good game.
It's just, I mean, to this day, it's still the only RPG I've ever completed. I'm not an RPG guy. I don't have the patience for RPGs, generally speaking, but this is the one exception. I've played this one
It's
through.
not exceptionally long either. That's the nice thing about it.
It gets pretty in depth. I mean,
Yeah.
by today's standards, no, but by the
No.
standards of those days, 2001 or 2003,
Yeah.
this game was in depth.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, it's not like fucking Elden Scrolls or whatever whatever the fuck those games are. Skyrim, shit like that.
Yeah.
Nothing like that, certainly, but. Still, this game, I mean, yes, I make fun of it nowadays a little bit because, like, this is like EU era Tad that like the EU, but now like I look back and look at how cringy some of the EU shit is. This is kind of the same way where it's like, oh, here's the fucking million years ago Darth Vader, here's the R2D2,
Yep.
here's the Chewbacca. Like, it's just so fucking formulaic that it's
Yeah.
like, but it wasn't the effect it had on me at the beginning. It was just really
No.
cool. And then like, yes, there's the plot twist that was
The
like
greatest twist. and-
knocks your
yeah.
socks off. The ability to like, I mean, I know that's kind of standard fare for RPGs, but the idea of like your choices drive you to one side or the other.
Light side, dark side.
It's just, yeah, everything about this game is wonderful. If they could just do a fucking ground up 4K remaster, like, my God, man. Like,
Yeah.
just do it for God's sake. Like,
I think it should just be remade. Don't do a ground up.
Just-
let's remake it.
Yeah.
Let's make it its own thing. Like you're saying, it's got a generic Darth Vader, generic Chewbacca.
maybe Star Wars Outlaws is that coming later this year.
Hopefully, have you watched the trailer for that yet?
Yes, you
The
made
s-
you
the
made
story-
you
the
made
story
me watch
trailer?
it. I thought before an episode, you're like, hey, you got to watch this before the episode.
There was a teaser trailer. They released a story trailer.
Maybe I haven't then.
So
All right. Yeah, so maybe. There are a lot of good Star Wars games, though. But yeah, Knights of the Republic is a huge one. Next up, you mentioned it earlier, GTA 5.
yeah.
Kind of like what you were saying with Red Dead. This game is just so huge. You've got 3 different characters that you bounce around between. The stories weave in and out from each other. There's small areas of this game where I'm like, can you just give me a game of just this the rest of the way? Like there's
Yeah.
one spot, one of your characters, you get like the with any GTA, you got like the side missions where it'll be like, hey, I need you to do, and then it ends up being like 4 or 5 of similar things, whether it's like
Yeah.
robbing a bank or whatever. This one, it's Hitman. And you're just like, hey, this guy's going to be walking out of this building, so you got to go up to this parking garage with your sniper rifle. I'm like, dude, just give me a fucking game in this, because I know there's the Hitman games, but
Yeah.
those are a
And
little
we
bit,
played those.
Those
We
are
both- we both played
those are
those.
okay for what they are, but like,
Yeah.
I just want one where I can just like, hey, here's an open world game. There's just going to be 50 to 100 fucking different characters that you're going to have to assassinate with different like
Nuances
set
and stuff like
nuances.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that would, dude. I would fucking live for that game.
Also, if
So,
you make it in the GTA vein, you can make it so where the getaway is part of it too.
yeah, like
Escape and get rid of the stars.
Yeah.
You got to go here and get on a boat. That's how you're going to get away.
Yeah.
They kind of do that with like, because I watched Achievement Hunter back in the day when they were still a thing. They actually disbanded. I don't know if you heard about that.
yeah,
They played the online missions where you do 4-player co-op to do it.
yeah,
And there's like actual, like you have to plan the getaway. So like there's stages building up to the heist
yeah,
where like one of the levels of the thing is where we have to go get our getaway cars.
yeah.
And you have to go steal them, and they're these special cars that have never been released in the GTA 5 game or
Yeah.
online or anything. And you go get them, and you go take them to a garage, and then you go and rob a bank and get in those cars, and you have to get to a certain point to get away.
Yeah.
Like that's awesome. Like
Yeah.
do that with assassinations.
Yeah. And I think like there's one
Billy Summers.
there's one, for instance, where I think like the guy's going to be at a press conference, so you've got to like sneak into this thing and plant an explosive in like the thing because the guy wants it to be like on live TV while the thing's going
When it
on,
goes
and it
off.
blows up and kills
Yeah.
him in front of everyone. Like, so just shit like, and it's just. But overall, the game is it's a fucking masterpiece, kind of like you were saying with Red Dead. Yes, I know it's 10 years old now, or
It still holds up. Everyone plays it.
yeah, and because I think the reason is because they were never trying for photorealistic.
Yeah.
GTA in its inherent nature is a little bit animated, so I think because of that they age well.
Yeah.
So at some point, one of these days when it's like a $10-$20 game on sale,
I
you
have
should
it
buy
on my wish list right now. It's $20.99.
Oh, yeah.
I think I was looking at it last night.
And this is one that I bought at full price 2 or 3 times because it was on one console, then
360,
the next console,
Xbox
and
One.
Then they added like, oh, you can go first person, which I'm a first person guy.
Yep.
So that was like whatever. And I feel like I bought it maybe not 100% full price, but I still bought it for way more than I should have a third time, and I've never once felt like it was a ripoff. It's a wonderful
Yeah.
game. So, love GTA 5. Cannot wait for 6. Hopefully, it's I guess it is Vice City, but it's going to be broader than that. But,
Yeah.
these games are masterpieces, and there's a reason they come out so far from each other. So, next up, Metal Gear Solid from 1998. I wouldn't say this is the first game. There's one more that is later in the list that is the first game that I ever played that like felt cinematic. But this one had like a story that just felt beyond
Like you were
what-
playing a movie.
what video games were at the time. There was nothing like this.
I got that with Arkham Knight. That was the one that really made me feel cinematic. Like, oh my god, this is a movie.
Yeah, and that's the way this was. And I mean, you're talking 1998. Like,
Yeah.
the games weren't like that. Now, yes,
No.
there's one more that I'll have in my list. It's actually the next entry that was a couple years earlier that was cinematic as well. But you'll see why when we get to it. Why it's a little bit different. But this one, to this day, I think I played the second Metal Gear Solid, but I've never played 3 or beyond. I just feel like they've never been able to like capture me the same way that first
Sure.
game did. And apparently they're remastering it, and I cannot wait to play the
Oh, that's
remastered
cool.
original game. So, love this game though. I've played it countless times on PlayStation. When they remaster it, I'll be there day one for the next version.
Awesome.
And the one after that, before that, on number 6 for me is Resident Evil. Probably the first game I ever played that was cinematic, but the difference between that and Metal Gear is horror, zombies, like, which I'm a fucking horror fanatic. So, like,
Hook it to your veins, right? You know,
Yeah.
the whole.
Just hook it to my veins!
yeah, but this game, like, I remember playing it with like friends that come over after school, and I knew certain things I could do that would scare the shit out of them, and so I jump scare people
Like
with
a
it.
dog bursting through the window. or-
Yeah, there's the dog, but there's also when you first get chased in the mansion, you can actually go to the door and reopen the door, and a dog pops its head in. And I did that for a bunch of friends that came up after school in like junior high, and it scared the shit out of all of them.
Is that where it started? Is that where you started scaring people and enjoying it? Like dragging Hayden to horror movies now? Is that where it started?
I mean, maybe. I remember being like in like junior high school era, saying like if I ever was like became rich, I would just rebuild the original Resident Evil mansion scale, like full, you know, because it's just like I don't know.
and hire people to come out there and be like, hey, I need you to come out for the weekend and watch my house, and just have a complete stranger stay in the house.
Yeah. So this is probably the first cinematic game I've ever played. It was 1996. And it was just different. It changed the entire paradigm of what video games could be. Playing a bunch of like side scrollers and shit for my entire
Yeah.
life. And then suddenly it was like, not only are we into 3D, but now suddenly it's like, this is cinematic. This is
Yeah.
like every zombie movie I've ever gone to fucking Hollywood Video and rented. I'm suddenly playing it. Like it's just it was game changing for me. And then Metal Gear a couple years later was the same thing where it's like holy shit cinematic, but it's not like it was just a 1-2 punch of like holy fuck, this is what video games can be. And so to re-experience that for the first time, I guess I'm kind of skipping that whole idea, but kind of I already mentioned it with like a few of them. At GTA 5, it'd be the learning the whole story. Seeing it unfold would be incredible.
Getting
do
to know
for
the three characters.
for the first time. Yeah,
Yeah.
some of those missions for the first time are going to be great. Resident Evil, Metal Gear, it would just be that moment of discovery of like, holy shit, what video games can be. It was an evolution, and it was weird because I would have been like a kid, right? 96, 98. Like I would have been 11 years old and 13 years old. It's just crazy the mind-blowing nature of like, whoa, I didn't know games could be like this.
Yeah.
And, you know, so to re-experience that would be pretty incredible. Then number 5, well, that's not right. Number 5, there we go. Number 5, I pushed the wrong button, and I put number 4 up on accident, is Mario 64. Yes, I had 2 Marios on my list originally, but for me, this one, there was an element of like, holy fuck, because again, this is 1996 as well, so this is Nintendo 64. Suddenly, side-scrolling Mario I'd played my entire life practically. Suddenly now I'm in 3D.
Yeah.
I can move around. I can go upstairs, downstairs. And it would just felt like I was like discovering something at every turn.
More immersive for you.
And it was game changing to me because I
Yeah.
probably played this first, and then later on that year played Resident Evil, and then Metal Gear came a little bit later. So like there was just an element to this where it was just like, holy fuck, I thought Mario was like a flat dude that just like moved
Yeah.
along the screen. Suddenly now I'm like moving through mansion, jumping into pictures, and like
Throwing penguins off the edge of the map.
oh dude, every time, I replayed it on Switch, and I still
Uh-huh.
dropped the damn penguin over the edge.
I remember you telling me about that because
Dude.
I never played this game, and you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, you can throw a penguin off the edge, and I'm like, really?
In front of the mom too.
Mom gets mad.
Oh yeah, she'll come after you.
Yeah.
Although penguins usually don't attack people, but
Yeah. That's not true.
but yeah, Mario 64. Like to play it for the first time again, it would be kind of the same thing. It's a revelation of holy shit, what the fuck games could be. Now we're getting into the higher levels, and
Yeah.
that gets into my top 5. Now we're getting into the ones that are probably beyond like revealing things, and it's like the evolutions of
Yep.
right. And the first one is fittingly enough, Combat Evolved, Halo.
Yeah.
The first Halo, which sounds like yours actually wasn't number 4, so ours doesn't line up. But my number 4 is Halo. You kind of mentioned it already, the way Halo was, you know, revolutionary for you, and it's the same for me. I remember kind of buying into Xbox on the magazines and stuff. It's like they were hyping it up, and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, we learned all these things, and it just sold me right away.
Mm-hmm.
So when I bought it, and then I got Halo, I didn't know what the fuck I was buying. I was just buying a couple of games, and this happened to be one
Well,
of them.
there
And
wasn't a ton of games to buy either.
no, there wasn't.
So,
And it's just like I'm so glad I picked this up as one of them because it changed, you know, it changed my life ultimately. Like it was one of the most dominant games. I mean, yes, all those memories we talked about, playing it in high school, playing it. We dragged our fucking TVs to the E-Center when we were camping out for tickets, and
For wrestling.
we found that one plug that that was
Extension cords,
outside the building. So we got an extension cord. We played Halo. I mean, you may have played some other stuff, but Halo was one of them.
Yep.
And it's just that for me, this one was just like the scale. It just felt bigger than anything I'd ever played before. When you're on some of those wide open maps, which when you think back on it, they really probably weren't wide open.
No.
They only went a little far. But the backgrounds of it made it feel like suddenly it was like what used to be such a I mean, before that, what were the first-person shooters? Like
Medal of Honor, Call of Duty.
Where you could feel the maze of the
Yeah.
of the very, it was very structured.
I
of how you could
remember
get through.
distinctly before playing Halo, the game that I was obsessed with was Medal of Honor 3, I think is what it is, where it's like the French resistance, not actual soldiers, but it's like the French resistance and you're fighting Nazis and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I remember what you just described, walking through tall grass.
Yeah.
And there were Nazis around each corner that I had to shoot.
Yeah.
Like, that's so
And
formulaic.
When you think back, it's like, oh, it was basically a roller coaster. I was on a track.
Yeah.
There was really no choices. Halo, though, suddenly it was like,
You'd come out in Assault on the Control Room. You'd come out of a cave. Okay, I could go right and face the tank. I could go left and take the jackals, or I could go straight and ramp up and over. And there's a ghost there. I could hop out of the scorpion tank and take the ghost. There's different ways of playing that cavern and everything.
Yeah.
You go down in the bottom of that level and you can snipe, or you can try and get the tank through, because that was one of the things we loved to do, is try to get vehicles where they weren't supposed to go.
every time.
And then Jeep jousting as well.
The ghost, how you'd be able to get it around a barrier with the one wing, and then you'd like be able to like force it over and get through things he shouldn't.
And you'd be on a ghost in an area that you're not supposed to. It barely fit through some of the doors. So you're like, yeah.
Or it didn't, and you like kind of like
You had to go at an angle.
wedged it up. Like it's
like you're on two wheels on a car almost.
exactly.
Oh, we did everything we could to get vehicles where they weren't supposed to go.
Oh yeah, and then like you said, the Jeep jousting was huge. We spent hours doing that.
Yep.
I mean, multiplayer we did quite a bit. I mean, there was one point when we all did our Spartans and then numbers, and we played against another group, and they're like, we don't know who's who, because our names were all just like Spartan and like numbers.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of fun stuff.
Spartan 88 was me.
Yes, 666 is my brother.
04 was you.
Yeah, we had all kinds of. It was great stuff, man. So yeah, this was game changing though, because it was just like, again, it was the evolution. It's like, not only now do we have a cinematic world, but suddenly it was like shit just felt more wide open.
Yeah.
And also like looking back, like some of the like allusions to like aliens, with like the black gruff drill sergeant. There's like them all strapping up at the very beginning. That look, it's
my wife could not get enough of
Johnson.
not Johnson.
Oh, Apone.
Apone in when we watched Aliens.
Somebody wake up Hicks.
Somebody wake up Hicks.
I love Apone, dude.
You're like,
so
she's like, I'm like, this is the inspiration for Sergeant Johnson in Halo. She's like, oh my gosh, she couldn't unsee it.
and so like for me, like I don't think I noticed it up front, but I think it was it was like comfort food. It's like I don't understand why, but I love so much of this.
Yeah.
And then it was later when I had that moment of revelation where I was like, dude, look at all the aliens things in this game. I'm like, no wonder I loved it so much. Like I've grown up on Aliens. Like that, I love that movie.
Well, then also
like some of the rifles look like aliens guns. Like it's all over the
absolutely
place.
inspired by Aliens. But you need to talk about it because I forgot to talk about it. The flood level. The complete shift in the game.
Yeah, suddenly
dude, that knocks 16-year-old Peter's socks off.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember.
And I
remember you getting a little bit freaked out by it too.
I gotta say, this man, as much shit as I talk about him, had played through Halo before I ever experienced it. And when he heard that I was gonna sell my PS2, like I told him I'm gonna sell it, and then the next day at school we were talking about it. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do it after school. And he's like, all right, you got to let me know when you get to this level. And I'm like, okay.
Library.
I'm like, why? And he goes, don't worry about it.
The library.
No, 343 Guilty Spark. Not 343 Guilty Spark. Or is it 343 Guilty Spark? It's the one before the library, where you're introduced to the flood.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You go down in, and there's like just this horror scene of everything like that. You're like, you got to let me know when you're going to play that. And I'm like, okay. And then I got to it on like a Thursday night, and you're like, bring your Xbox over and play it. And you had me play it. Do you remember? You had me play it at your house the first time.
No.
You watched me play it for the first time.
So-
that's why you just said you remember me being freaked out by it.
Yeah, so what you're saying is that I had a premonition about streamers.
Apparently, yeah. We should have been the first
Hey,
streamers.
do you remember when you I think it was may have been Halo 2 when you set up your video
Yep.
camera behind you?
My parents always did a graduation gift for seniors graduating high school, and I said I wanted a video camera. I wanted to record camping out for wrestling tickets with Tad, or doing things with my girlfriend, or this or that. And then Tad and me had this idea, but what if I set up and recorded my TV screen?
Because we were always like, well, this cool thing
That
happened.
was so cool. It was before they had clips where
Yeah,
you could
there was-
record
there was no
a
rec-
video and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And so I had video of us Jeep jousting on Zanzibar on Halo 2, where we'd hit and do these crazy flips with our warthogs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was so bad looking
Yeah.
because you're on a CRT TV, and when you're recording a CRT
It's all
TV,
wavy.
it's all wavy and shit, but you can still see what was going on.
Yeah.
I got so much shit for that from my friends when they found out that I did that. They're like, "You did that?" I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "What a nerd." I'm like, "Dude, I was the streamer before it was streaming. Like,
yeah,
come
I was
on."
gonna say you should call them up now and just tell them like, see, I was way ahead of the
I was
game,
ahead of
man.
the curve is what it was.
I was decades ahead of,
Yeah.
of the real world.
Sidewinder was our map on Halo.
Yeah.
That was our map.
Yeah, that was indeed.
I gotta let you get through your list. I'm sorry.
I love the cheer on whatever. The
All three, yeah.
fucking Portal one.
Where we played it with rockets only, no shields.
Well, we also did. Sometimes we changed it up to where we had 400% shields.
Oh, yeah, so it took, like, 3
It
rockets.
took 2 rockets.
Yeah.
One took your shields all the way down, then the other one killed you.
Yeah.
And you'd go through and you just go through the portal, and there's a guy right in front of you.
You just
like
blast
it's-
each other point blank with
it's
rockets.
So fun, dude. So yeah, and then so I guess not just that revelation, but also just the fun times that came from that
Yeah.
that game. I guess that doesn't really apply to the first time, but
But the story is still amazing too.
yeah, the story is absolutely incredible. To play that for the first time would be
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
And then next up is Halo 2. I put that one above
Yep.
it. For me, I think what it comes down to is the hype.
Oh,
that,
yeah.
that went into Halo 2. You remember the whole video where the dude had the thing on his arm with the date? Was it November 4th?
Yep.
Yeah, 2004.
Yep.
But just the hype level.
Our senior year, just after our senior year in high school.
The hype level of that fucking game, and then to finally play it. I mean, there was just the element of like it felt bigger, the graphics are better, dual wielding shit. There's
November 9th. Sorry.
Yeah, isn't that what I said?
You said 4th.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I meant 11-9. Yeah. Then there was the scarab, like just everything about that thing, and then yes, you already mentioned the online. Like
Online, dude.
Xbox Live became a thing after Halo, so it wasn't on Halo. There were some other games like that I played
You
until
could kind of play Halo on Xbox Live with like certain things, but it was like, okay, we just need to get a new game. And then Halo 2 came out like a year later, and it's like, all right, I'll just wait for that.
yeah. Well, no, you couldn't play Halo 1.
I thought they integrated. Oh, Mom.
No, not till the Master Chief Collection was the first
Oh.
time you could play the original game. So ultimately, when we finally hit that, and like again, being ahead of the curve, man. If pro
Yeah.
gaming would have been a thing back when we were
Dude,
there, like we could have probably
You with your SMG and pistol combo, and then me running around with like a shotgun or a sniper or a battle rifle to help you out in multiple people ganging up on you situations.
yeah.
The amount of times I dropped a grenade at Tad's feet because there was 3 guys trying to kill him.
Lockout.
I'd get 3 kills and Tad would get like 3 assists. He'd be like, "God damn it, Peter, I had them." I'm like, "It was 3 of them."
No,
He's
the
like,
worst was on Lockout.
Yeah.
I was up on that right side if you're at the portal.
Yep.
You were down below. You saw me drop. You knew 2 were in there, and you knew 2 more were coming.
Yep.
Some fucking how I win. I
Yep.
killed all 4 of them.
and my grenade stuck
and
to
then
his foot.
ding, 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 ding,
Yep.
ding, ding. A grenade from Peter. I have nothing. I've got a fucking. You could.
Boop, 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 boop,
a
boop,
mouse could fart on me
Yep.
and I would have died. And then Peter's grenade comes up and blows me up. And I fucking cursed you out so bad.
I got-
And you're like, there's no way I thought you could have beat
Yeah.
all 4 of them. Dude.
How was I supposed to know?
Oh, you should have trusted me.
No.
So yeah, this game, and then yeah, like you're saying, it was the middle game, so like it wasn't like this massive story achievement or anything, but like
We did get introduced to the brutes, and actually we got introduced to brutes in this one. Sorry, I said that for Halo 3, but it's this one that we got them introduced to.
What about? Yeah, it's true because all the Arbiter missions.
Yeah.
What about sniping jackals? And the Geonosians. I don't even know what they're really called, but
I think they just call them bugs.
is it?
Bugs.
I still call them.
they yell bugs.
I still
in
call
the-
them Geonosians
Yeah, because it's
they,
like
they are Geonosians.
yeah, 2004 and then 2005 in May is when we get episode 2.
No,
so.
2000.
Oh no, that was
3.
that was
or
that was
2002.
episode 3. I'm thinking about
Yeah.
in 2005. So yeah,
2002.
we already had Geonosians, and we're like, it's Geonosians.
Geonosians. Oh, it's the only time I want to pick up a sword is to kill a Geonosian. So yeah, that's my number 3. Absolutely love it. And then getting over to number 2 is Spider-Man.
I knew this was going to be top 3 for you.
I had to debate it because, like, especially replaying Miles Morales, I'm in the middle of 2 right now. But there's no spoiler to say it was in the fucking trailer. Venom plays a big part in 2. Never been a Venom fan.
Yep.
So, like, that drags it out. But also, I'm only 65% through the replay now. The fact I've replayed this first game 7 times, 100% completed.
It tells you how much you enjoyed it.
Yeah, there's an
There's
element
a
of-
little bit of enjoyment there from Ted.
This game is a fucking masterpiece. Storytelling wise, I think this takes storytelling to the next level. Storytelling has been great for a long time, probably at least since the turn of the century. But Spider-Man 2 storytelling is like it. I mean, I would say it rivals the movies for
Yeah.
Spider-Man. I would say the actor,
The first
the actor,
first game had it too. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. This
Oh, I thought you said that about 2.
No, the first
okay.
the first game, and the guy that plays Spider-Man, I'd say I'd throw him up against the movie guys and say, who's your favorite Spider-Man?
He's
'Cause
up there.
I think he would compete.
Oh, he's up there.
Yeah. And just like being able to like tell the much broader story than any movie could ever have time for.
It's the same thing where people are like, "Who's your favorite Batman?" Kevin Conroy. Well, he's never played Batman. Sure, he has.
Yeah, he's
You're
done
gonna-
it. He's
you're
done it. Let's count hours.
He's done it more than anyone else. Because I can tell you right now, I've played Batman Arkham City about 18 times, and he's there every time. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think you already mentioned it. The voice acting in this,
Oh, so good.
But I mean, everything about this game just stands out. It's an absolute fucking 100% stone cold masterpiece.
Yeah.
Like everything about this game is absolutely perfect. I
remember
all
being
this,
a-
all this, because I'm not a 100%er anyway. I know you
No.
are. I've never been a 100%er. I don't care. But this
Yeah.
game though, it just felt like within the first time playing the first playthrough, I was like, I want 100% this game.
Yep.
And then every time I've never not 100%ed it because it's like every little side thing is
fun.
worth it. And
it's fun.
and it is one of the funnest games.
Yeah.
And so to play it for the first time, to go through all of that happens would just be an absolute fucking joy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The twist and turns with the story and everything like
Yeah,
that.
Miles Morales showing
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
up. I mean, you get his origin story, like, then like it's like, oh, Dr. Octavius. Well, I know how this is gonna go, but
Uh-huh.
like, is it this?
But
game?
how it goes is different
But
than
also-
what I expected.
Yeah, but also, is it this game?
Yeah.
Because I was like, this could be.
Oh, that's a good
This could
point,
be
yeah.
a sequel. I don't know if he's gonna whatever. Or I mean, like I don't know. There's just I love everything about this game, and I really enjoy the second game, but I am slightly cheating by saying the Venom thing drags it down, and I knew that from the trailers. I was like, all right, they're bringing Venom in. Of course, they couldn't
Here we
hold
go.
off, but at least that's going to take it down a bit. But also the fact that I haven't completed my second 100% means I'm almost going to say I'm not judging it ultimately on to this paradigm.
Yeah.
So that's maybe a cheat.
So it's like you haven't played it yet.
Yeah, and then Miles Morales, I really adore, but it's just so short.
It
It
is
is
very short.
I know Sony probably is the reason behind that. They probably forced their hand, but it's just way too short.
Yep.
The replay did that to me because I was like going through and I'm like, all right, like I bet you I'm about 50%. I pull up, I'm 78% through. I'm like,
What the hell?
Jesus Christ, this game is short.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I really love that game though too. But yeah, this first one though it's going to be hard to ever top it.
I have no idea what your number one's going to be.
Really,
Halo and Spider-Man were my 2 guesses.
really.
Yeah.
Well, I'm actually surprised that you wouldn't have guessed because it is Red Dead 2.
Oh, duh.
I've said
I'm embarrassed.
I've said
you know
it-
what? I deserve this.
Shame.
I deserve that. I
Shame.
can't believe that.
that you didn't. All right.
Think of that.
That's why I was like, I can't believe you wouldn't have pieced it
Wow.
together. So what have I been saying? I mean, for me, for the first time, especially, story is going to be one of the biggest
Yeah.
drivers. And yeah, so again, through a lot of these things, or it was like a revelation of like, oh my God, what video games can do. I think this is like the culmination of both streams crossing.
Yeah.
Because like, I think this is the greatest video game story ever told. Period. just, and I know that might be controversial. I know there's a lot of games I have not played, so I'm maybe I'm an imperfect judge on that, but I do genuinely believe this is the greatest video game story ever told.
Yeah.
So, and then on top of that, like, again, I know it's Rockstar, so they're not trying for photorealistic on everything, but dude, like some of like the times you're just looking over like the valley as the sun's coming up, like there's nothing I've ever seen that's better than that.
Yeah.
And maybe since then something might come in the next couple of years, but like that was like breathtaking graphics and just
the game is beautiful.
it's beautiful, and like the scale of it just feels massive. So it just feels like the perfect merging of like what they can do with video games, not only technically but storytelling wise.
Yep.
And I mean, playing it through, I'm still not done with my 100%, which I've never 100%ed it, but I'm like 90 something, high 90s. I think I've got a little ways to go still, but ultimately that was really a good one to really make it settle for me that like passing through at least the certain moment, I guess before the epilogue, I was able to just at that point go, you can't beat this. Like this is the best story. So for me it's a story, but yeah, like you mentioned a lot of shit. The acting, we talked about the graphics, I mean the gameplay.
It also it plays really well.
A lot of this stuff we haven't even talked about, but it probably applies to a lot of these things. But the gameplay on some of these is just, there's sometimes gameplay is just perfect and it just works right, and other times I've heard people bitch about this and say it could have been better, but to me, like, dude, no. Some of the shootouts I get in and stuff, like, it just feels perfect to me. Like, it just works great. So, it's number one for replay value, because, like, to go and rediscover this story for the first time would be holy shit. Like, I just, like, immediately.
I have a plan, Arthur.
to not know, to hate Micah. I also missed the chat where Lydia said it's amazing how you came up with these games. I
came upon these games, the Batman.
Came
the Batman
upon,
games.
okay, I missed that. I didn't know where. That makes sense.
Because Batman Arkham City is a free gold game.
Yeah,
that blows my mind. That's my all-time favorite game.
Yeah,
that I want to replay, and I got it as a free game from Xbox.
Yeah.
Thank you, Xbox.
Well, it's funny too is what Red Dead 2 reminds me of is Red Dead Revolver was a launch title for Xbox 360.
I thought Gun was
Gun.
Gun was
either way. I remember I've been saying it since the turn of the century at least. Why the fuck are there not more Western video games? It just seems to me that what we all love as gamers and Westerns just feel like peanut butter and jelly or peanut butter and chocolate or whatever. It just feels right. And it just feels to me like it's like World War II has
pumpkin pie and Cool Whip.
Ugh, that's disgusting. It's like World War II in video games, right? Like, there's been probably at least, I could easily say 50 is an easy number to say.
Oh, that's too low.
50, easy though, 50. Like, to me then, in that case, there should be 40 fucking Western games that are all different levels of great, and it just feels like they've really underutilized Gun, and then there's Red Dead Revolver, Red Dead Redemption 2. I know there's been a couple other things, Call of War has, like, a few other small, but it just feels to me like it's tailor-made for video games, for God's sake, the Westerns, come on. So yeah, that's mine. That's my list.
It's so perfect for video games. Borderlands 3 has a downloadable content that is set on a Western planet.
Yeah.
You're going to collect a bounty on a gang of troublemakers who are giving trouble to a sheriff in a town. And literally, that's the plot of the DLC for Borderlands 3. It is made for video games.
It is. And like Star Wars Outlaws, I really get the vibe that they're basically saying, we're making a Western in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like, it's the underworld, like, you know.
It's the crime.
Yeah, crime.
Like you got the outlaws.
Bounties, like, it's just, so, and then like.
Crime syndicates and stuff like that.
Especially the early season of Mandalorian, that was a Western, and it's just like, who of us was not watching The Mandalorian going, I wish I was playing this on a video game right now.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it would just be perfect. So it just shocks me, and I'm just glad that Rockstar did it and evolved to the point to do Red Dead 2, because I think it's the greatest game potentially greatest story of all time for video games for sure. And for me, that's going to be my main driving force for replay value.
Makes sense.
First time playing a story is always magical. So that is it for the list. Let's go ahead and jump on over to emails. If you want to email the show, you can email either of us directly. It's either Peter at geekeryabides.com or Tad at geekeryabides.com. If you want to agree with us, disagree with us, ask us our thoughts on something based on something we said in this discussion, or give show topic ideas as well. I don't think we've had a couple suggestions. Anything you want, send it to us. We alternate on how we do the episodes. So if you want to email Peter, you can email Peter. If you want something to be revealed to me on the show, you can email Peter and he could do it, or vice versa. Or you can email me at Tad, T-A-D-D, at geekeryabides.com. And then that leaves us to next time, and I haven't told you this yet, but it should be no big surprise. I am circling back to Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
So,
I thought, but that's where we would be going.
yeah, I almost thought about texting you, but I think I forgot.
That's fine.
But ultimately, we planned it. The news went too far, so we hadn't have a chance to discuss Lord of the Rings. So we will do that. Also, I haven't covered it, so maybe I'll cover it in the next episode. But I'll throw it out as a tease. They just announced 4K extended editions coming to theaters.
Wow.
So next episode, we'll talk about that.
Cool.
And that should be a very tempting thing for some people. So that'll do it for this episode. I'll sign off like I always do by saying, love what you love. Don't let anyone give you any bullshit about guilty pleasures, because if it gives you pleasure, there's no guilt in it.
That's right.
So love what you love. Let your geek flag fly high. And what do you got, Peter?
Fuck Handsome Jack and Micah.
Mike, I was wondering if it would be Micah related or if you had a plan. But I guess that's on the board.
I have a plan, Arthur.
Do you hate Dutch too, right? Or do you have like a love-hate with him?
That's a topic for another day.
All right, we'll see you guys again. It'll be 2 weeks from now, because next week I will be watching Star Wars, or sleeping after watching Star Wars.
Yep.
Straight through. So we'll see y'all on the 11th, and see you then. Yep.
Bye, everyone.
All right. Everyone in the chat, thank y'all for joining. I know there's been a couple other people in here. Lydia was definitely speaking up, but I know there's a couple other people that did not. But yeah, whoever joined us, thank you, and glad you're with us, even if you were a silent
Lurkers are allowed.
What's the Batman line? A silent guardian, whatever.
Watchful guardian. Dude, I need to remember that line. I'm ashamed of myself.
Oh, all right. See y'all on the YouTube side.
And bye, everyone.